Tire Studio. 15 years of the most passionate sports fans in America.
Sports is crazy here. I wouldn't want to do it in any other city.
Thank you, Boston, for making us your home for sports for the past 15 years. WPCFM and HD Boston 98.5. The Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Red Sox seem all but out of the race for a playoff spot now after getting swept in a doubleheader by Toronto at Fenway yesterday and last night. Toronto took the afternoon game 4-1 in a completion of a game that was suspended in late June. Catcher Danny Jansen became the first player ever to play for both teams in a single game in that one. Last night, the Sox lost 7-3. Alex Cora's team is now 5 games out of a third wild card in the American League.
Most of them, they haven't been in this situation before, right? And, every pitch matters, every bat matters, We just got to make sure we slow it down. I don't know if it's pressure or just good pitching. We're better in this. We know that. And right now, we're not going through a good stretch. We'll turn around.
George Springer homered in both games for the Jays. Jaron Duran did the same for the Red Sox, but they also committed 6 errors in the 2 games. They've lost 5 in a row. They play Toronto again tonight. The team has also reportedly shut down top prospect Marcelo Mayer for the rest of the season with a lumbar strain in his lower back. All NFL teams have to be down to 53 players by 4 o'clock this afternoon. Patriots got a jump on that by waiving 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. Dallas has signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract. Also, they will reportedly work out free agent running back Dalvin Cook today. Tennessee has traded quarterback Malik Willis to Green Bay for a 7th-round draft pick. And yesterday was day 1 of the U.S. Open tennis tournament with American Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic among your first-round winners. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 98.5sportshub.com.
Fred, hello. Hello. Mm-hmm. Hello. Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Open him up with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, and we are in the Town Fair Tire Studios. You can give us a call, 617-779-0985. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And, oh, my God, please, for the love of everything holy, would you search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and just subscribe. Subscribe to us on YouTube so you can watch us. There's a conversation going on in there. It's a whole situation. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves the YouTube. And Hardy is out today. He is coming back tomorrow and
Thursday.
Oh, no, he's coming back Thursday. That's right. I'm out tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm taking but Danny Roach is in. Hi, Dan.
Freddie. Morning.
Morning.
You were in a dream of mine recently.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, here we go.
What happened?
Oh, you said I turned around the corner and you were right there in front of me. You said, hello, Daniel. And that was it.
I said that today.
Yeah.
I called you Daniel.
I don't know. It was weird.
And I've never called you Daniel before. In fact, I thought about it. So I'm being serious. So you had a dream that you're sure that I called. This isn't just.
Yes.
You thought of it just now.
No. Came around the corner. I was walking somewhere, turned the corner, and you were right there. Hello, Daniel.
Isn't that odd? And I called him
strange.
Daniel today for the first time ever.
Wow.
Did
the lottery.
Did I get hit by a bus or something in the dream that I should know
That
about?
was it. Nope.
Why do you always assume the worst? What was that?
All right.
Because I
Happy
was
to
going to
see you.
ask if something good was going to happen, and then I didn't want to tempt fate. I didn't want to
Did
manifest.
I die a horrible death in your dream, Dan?
Well, if
You're
things
eaten
are
by wolves.
if things are coming true, I just wanted to know if that was the case. Because don't look for me tomorrow because I'm going to be. It's
Cruising.
going to be wild.
Oh, you're living the Vida Loca starting tomorrow. That's right.
Where you going?
Solo trip?
I'm going to my parents' home in eastern Tennessee by myself. So it'll be just me and my two 82-year-old parents.
How many rounds of golf will be involved?
I don't think my dad can play because he's hurt his shoulder. I'm bringing my clubs. I mean, they certainly can't play 18 holes, and I don't want to play by myself there because you can't. You can't play by yourself. You get paired up with other people, and
Yeah.
they get the dues down for the club. They opened it up. They started marketing it like publicly, so it's pretty crowded. I think they robbed Peter to pay Paul. I think that the exclusivity. It's not a country club, but it's East Tennessee, so it's not like in the middle of like a city or like a town, like a big town. So it used to be that you could get on by yourself and there was openings and stuff, but now it's just packed.
How much time between tee times? Do they have that yet?
Yeah, I believe it's 7 minutes or 6 minutes. Like it's not 10.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Yeah. What's the norm? 5 or 10?
More like 8.
Okay, yeah. So it's 6 or 7.
10, and then like some places like 15 if you're like in a private place.
Yeah, Woodland's 10.
Yeah.
And so, and 10, and there still can be, but yeah, if you're playing on a busy day at my parents' courses, there's 3 of them. If you're playing, it can take a long time. And I don't like getting by myself, getting paired up with other people. I don't mind if I have someone with me, but if it's just me, I find it to be very awkward.
It's very dicey too. Like you never know if you're going to get good people or you're like, if they're happy with the way you play, or it's just awkward.
It's funny because I used to be like super concerned about how well I played, and then it would make me ultimately not play well. Like I would, because my father.
Yes, I know exactly what you're saying.
I don't know why my dad did this, but when I was a kid, I know why he did this. When I was a kid and we would go to like Hilton Head or something, we didn't travel a lot, but when we went to Hilton Head or something, he would like go like play golf with me. So we'd play like Harbor Town. It's really expensive, but I didn't know how to really play golf.
Yeah.
And then he gets super mad at me because like there's people behind us, there's people behind us, there's people behind us. So my whole like he's been like that until like 10 years ago. He's like, so I never could enjoy it because I was always afraid of the people behind us. So my reaction was to like rebel against the whole thing and then like really not try just to kind of piss him off. So like it was
I'm surprised you would
contest.
do something like that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I was it's just me too. But little Danny would be like, "Sure thing, Dad."
This is a swell time.
Yeah, can I walk my cheek into your hand? Like, oh, Dad, don't move your arm like that. I'll just slap my chin against your hand. But so for the longest time I was like just paranoid that I was screwing everything up, and now that I've older and like have played, like I don't care any about that anymore.
Getting back to your original point, if your dad can't play and you don't want to play alone with anyone, why bring your clubs?
Because my mom can play, and also, I mean, there's like a driving. I don't know, dude. I mean, why not? I mean, it doesn't cost me anything to bring them on the plane.
Okay.
So, I mean, I might as well. Because with my status on Delta.
Oh, what status is that again?
Diamond.
Attaboy.
Wow. I can 75-pound bags. Your 50-pound bag rule does not apply to me.
I'm just carrying all this heavy stuff that I might not use.
Oh yeah, I just put weights in there so I can work out in the house.
Very rarely have I played golf and run into a real a-hole. You know what I'm saying? Very rarely, and I don't like playing alone with other people too because I'm always conscientious about how I'm playing and whether or not I'm messing up their day, their round, whatever. But if there are only 2 of us and I got matched up with another two people. Very rarely have I run across. I think I can only think of one time in the last 10 years where I've run across somebody who I just could not stand playing with.
Right.
But the way I look at it
you
is,
played alone by yourself?
yes, I don't mind that. But the thing, but you can't anymore. Really, you used to be able to just get on by yourself. It used to be that if you played like after 2:00 in the afternoon, you pretty much could play by yourself and have the whole course to yourself. Basically, that's not the case anymore.
I did that at Pinehurst.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, years and years ago, 2003. 2003.
Were you out there for work?
So they sent me to Grady Little was about to get fired for not for keeping Pedro in.
Yeah.
And it was on a Sunday, and it was October. So when they were out of the playoffs, it was actually probably close to November. And it was a Sunday, and I was waiting to hear, and I heard from somebody in the Red Sox who said, we're not going to fire Grady today because Grady lived at Pinehurst, and we're not going to do it out of respect to the Patriots who were playing the Dolphins that day. So I got in my car, drove over to the clubhouse, and said, hey, I'm here from Boston. I'm by myself. Is there any chance I can get out and play? And he's like, go down the street to Nevada Bob's, get yourself a pair of cheap shoes if you want, a glove, balls, and then come back and see me. And he said, I'm going to put you out on number 1, which is the exact same design as Pinehurst number 2. He said, they just don't keep it up as pristine as number 2 because of, what it is. And sure enough, came back, and he put me out there, and I flew. I had a blast. And I met a guy whose wife had given him a trip to Pinehurst for his birthday. And he was coming and playing by himself, too. And we played the final, 6 or 7 holes. And coming up the 18th hole, it was just picturesque. It was like a postcard. It was almost dark, and but the lights of the clubhouse looked beautiful and everything else. And I was by myself, but I hit the ball really well that day. It's like you said, if you go with someone who puts pressure on you and something like that, it's not as fun. But we just had a blast. It was great.
Yeah.
Then he got fired the next day, and that was it.
And then, that's what you travel in, though. That's what you tread in. It's just others' tragedies.
Yes.
That's the news now.
Well, when I was with the Red Sox, they used to call me the Grim Reaper. Guys,
really?
Players on the team, because for a while, every time there was a bad story, remember the Schilling, who was it? Not Gary. Was it Gary Thorne?
His Nazi stuff?
They said it was his stock wasn't real. It wasn't real. It wasn't a bloody sock.
Okay.
And they sent me to that, and sure enough, I'm walking in, and the PR guy comes to me and says, they're calling you the Grim Reaper, because you only show up now these days on the road when there's a story that needs to be exploited or something like that. So.
I was reading something that was talking about people's relationships with local guys' relationships with coaches and teams and stuff, and how people get information, and it specifically referenced your relationship with Terry Francona, which was interesting because you talk about him all the time. Or no, not all the time, but everyone knows that you guys had a good relationship. But were you the guy that Terry would give information to?
No, surprisingly, no.
Oh.
No. I would, it was more, I don't know. It was kind of like we were just buddies more than anything else.
Weren't you? Didn't you show up in his driveway more than once?
Yeah.
He knew that. It takes a very special person to be allowed onto the man's property.
Right, but it was just to get sound and things like that on stories, but it wasn't necessarily to break stories. Do you know what I mean? There's a
Where did he
difference
live?
between the two. He lived over in Brookline.
Okay, because he used to live in that hotel on.
Jimmy Williams used to live in that hotel.
Jimmy Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would just show up to his house
I'd
without him
text him
knowing?
and say, hey, Tito, you got a minute? Yeah, come on over, Ochi.
Now, would he come out with no shirt on, his Iron Sheik, even though he had descended belly?
No, he'd wear the Popeye shirt on purpose.
Did you ever hear that story, Freddie? I told you that one.
Yeah.
Right after he got fired. That was the best. That was the best visual ever.
He wore
My
a Popeye,
photographer's fault.
He wore a Popeye shirt, but he covered up.
It said, blow me down.
He covered up the down.
Yeah.
That was great.
So
and my photographer decides to shoot it. He just keeps the down out of it. And everyone thinks, it's a message to Sox ownership because he got fired.
Maybe it was.
You can't conclusively say that it wasn't.
Well, it worked out perfectly for Tito because he's like, I didn't do that on purpose.
Of course not.
But you know how guys will have pot bellies, but they still have defined muscles in abdominal muscles. That's a steroid situation. So I wonder if Terry was.
No, Tito had. It wasn't steroids. Tito had issues. Like he had blood clots. You know what I mean? So
I don't know. Maybe
he was on blood thinners he's still on blood thinners for a long time.
I'm not sure you can't take HGH with human growth hormone with on blood therapy.
But they say that's the whole part of Barmore. You know, and same with David Andrews. If they you can't come back because you're on blood thinners, and that could cause even worse damage if you get hit.
I know getting hit, but that doesn't mean you can't take human growth hormone. Come on.
Yeah, Tito isn't playing.
Yeah, I don't think
he's
any
managing.
Red Sox player would do that, Fred.
No, how about the manager?
No way.
Why not?
These guys are clean. All of them.
Yeah, that's
top to bottom,
you see
whole
what he's
organization.
doing. You see what he's doing.
Come
He's
on into
defending
my
his guy.
world, Freddie.
He's defending his guy. But I'm not saying Terry Francona did steroids, obviously. I don't know. I mean, he didn't have affinity for anything prescribed. But the thing was that but this is a fact. What is it? Distended. A distended belly with visible abdominal muscles is because your body swells because you're taking all this stuff to like pump you up. It swells your internal organs and swells so that's why it pushes out like that. Isn't that interesting? And Terry Francona had that kind of body. Dan, why did you never investigate that?
I don't know. Left it up to the I team.
Okay.
If you want to do it, go ahead. I'm just here for the game.
Yeah, that's right. You're just there.
I love the game. Why do you keep doing what you're doing? Love the game.
Yeah, you do.
Huh?
What time did you get up this morning?
Like 3:30. I woke up.
Yeah. Why not? You know.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you got to get up 2.5 hours before you get in here.
I'll be in here at 1 tomorrow because Wallach panicked me. You know,
panicked you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot of drams going on with Wallach and tomorrow's
here's
show.
what he says. So I'm going to host.
Okay, so you know that now.
Because he asked me to do the headlines.
No, that's
or I volunteered
that's
to do the
not what
headlines
happened.
because I felt bad.
I said I'm looking forward to working with you and Michael Holly tomorrow. It's going to be the three of us. And then Dan, unprompted, said, "Would you like me to do headlines?" And I said, "Well, since I'm hosting, I would mind someone else doing that, so I won't have to do both."
No,
that's the way the conversation went.
You know, Pam,
So-
how does this sound? I'll be up all night.
So after,
I'm John Wallach. That's the headline.
just go real long, and then you'll be like him. The after the show yesterday, he's like, "I got to figure out if I'm hosting the show." And I said, "Well, of course you're hosting the show.
Yeah.
There's no one else from the show there.
Right.
Like who's gonna host it?"
It's John. John and I are egoless, and we do what's best for the team. That's what it came down to, right?
Yeah, that's what I saw.
No,
Maybe we'll have Holly do it.
No,
he's not here.
He would have been very offended
know.
if he was not the host. But I don't know what he was even thinking about. I'm like, of course you're going to be the host. You're the only guy that works for the company that's going to be in here. Mm-hmm. Works for the company full time. I mean, I know Michael Holly has been a host, and I know Dan's a big TV guy. But come on, let's not go nuts here.
It's on my resume, and you know why? I know it's on my resume.
Yeah,
because on LinkedIn, I don't ever go on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
but I get all these emails, and it's like jobs as a host because I think I put anchor, reporter, host on the thing, so I get like Chili's. There's a Chili's host opening if you'd like to apply to that.
I worked at Chili's. I worked at Chili's for like a solid 4 months.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I lived on them chips. The chips were right at the wait station.
Yes.
You took the chips, you put them in
bottomless.
You put them in the basket yourself, and you took the soup cup and you ladled in the chili, the salsa your very self. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to go through any middlemen for that. That's how you did it.
That's living.
Oh yeah, there was that was fun. I was in suburban Detroit, and there were and I was working with people around my age. And
what was your first job?
My first job was a dishwasher at the Buggy Works, but I was fired from that job. I was fired from all these jobs. I don't think I was fired from Chili's, but I was fired. We've been over this on the show before. We counted like 12 jobs I was fired from.
Who's the one who was uppity about the glasses?
Wow.
Oh, I didn't even really start. That was TGI Fridays.
TGI Fridays, okay.
So, these places are ridiculous. So TGI Fridays obviously is very like corporate and everything, and they have national guys that like were outstanding. So they're pricks. Like they were like hard-ons, like tryhards that from other markets that just tried really hard at working at TGI Fridays. So they like elevated them to these traveling trainers. It's almost like a cult. I think there's a documentary about it. And this guy, it was in Midtown Atlanta. I had just moved to Atlanta. I just literally was driving around, like just putting in applications. It's easy to get a waiting job. At least it was back then. And so they go like, you got to come in on like before we open on like a Tuesday. So I go in there and there's like 5 of us. And there's this corporate in quotations guy that's there, and he's into train, and he's like, all right, so here's the deal. If someone orders a triple fudge, like mudslide Rooney, and you put it in a fruity patootie vodka glass, all hell will break loose. And I thought he was kidding. Who cares?
Yeah.
And he was like dead serious. Like to him, you have this opportunity to be at TGA Fridays where they put certain drinks in certain glasses. I mean, if you don't do that, they have market research that people want the triple fudge mudslide
in that glass
drink. They want the alcoholic drink that's 2,000 calories with 0.001% alcohol in it. That's exactly what they want to consume. What are you going to do today? I'm going to get drunk. How? I'm going to drink 1,000 drinks. I'm going to drink 1,000 drinks, and then my blood alcohol level might teeter in the range of somewhat intoxicated.
But I'll walk away with diabetes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, like you're just going to die, but not of alcohol.
Right.
All right. When we come back, which one of you two has decided to do headlines today?
I will do
John,
headlines. I am also doing what happened last night. So we will go through the Red Sox doubleheader. We will discuss the day that Gerard Mayo had yesterday, which was not good. And yes, history made at Fenway Park yesterday.
And boy, did it sound like it. They played the highlights on ESPN this morning. Woo! It was not much of anything.
Dun, 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 dun.
But I'm sure Dan will wax poetic about it, so we'll have that for you. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub. Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
We are Toucher and Hardy. Hardy's not here, so John, go ahead. What happened last evening?
All right, Red Sox happened last evening and yesterday, Fred. Their playoff hopes seemingly hanging by a thread, heading into a doubleheader of sorts against Toronto yesterday. Game one, as we all know, a continuation of a game that was suspended by rain in late June in the top of the second inning. So they restarted things, or continued things rather, and the Blue Jays got a big day from George Springer.
Springer gets a ball high in the air to deep left field, and this one is going to be long gone. Right on out of here, way over the monster. And the Blue Jays have the first run of the ball game.
Springer homered there. He powered a 4-1 win in game one and then hit a 3-run shot around the pesky pole in right. Blue Jays won again in the nightcap, 7-3. The only bright spot of the entire day for the Red Sox was Jarren Duran.
Shot out to left. With Graffito already looking up. And that ball is going to get up and out of here. It is gone. Home run. Jarren Duran with number 18. Red Sox finally get on the board here with one down in the eighth inning.
Thank you to Nesson. And Duran had homers in each game. He had 3 hits in game 2 last night, but the Red Sox lose 7-3. And they're now in a lot of trouble. They've lost 5 in a row and 11 of their last 15 for Alex Cora.
Most of them, they haven't been in this situation before, right? And, every pitch matters, every bat matters, We just got to make sure we slow it down. I don't know if it's pressure or just good pitching. We're better in this. We know that. And right now we're not going through a good stretch. We'll turn it around.
All right, they're 5 games out of a playoff spot, and I didn't think this was possible for a Red Sox team. They're 29-37 at home. That's the third worst home record in the American League, behind only the last place Angels and one of the worst teams in Major League history, the Chicago White Sox. Dan, you are Mr. Sunshine. The Red Sox can do no wrong. Is it over?
It was a good day for Danny Jansen, which is pretty cool.
Well,
right?
we'll get to that in a second, but answer the question, Dan.
Don't make him answer that. No, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's going to be difficult, right? It's probably the chance of catching one team. Minnesota is the only thing that they have left with 5 games behind with 31 to go.
Little over 4 weeks left in the season.
It's it's going to be difficult. But I think the head scratching part is what you just said, is that they're 29-37 at home, and it was one thing that they talked about in spring training. Alex Corso, we have to be better at Fenway Park, and they were out of the gate. But lately, they've just really struggled at home. And I don't know why. They're a much better team on the road. They seem to be more relaxed and play better on the road. And when you thought they finally, turned things around against Houston and got it going here, they come home and they fall flat on their face again. So very aggravating to watch.
What can we do as fans, Dan, to ensure that this never happens again?
Be loud. Be proud when you get to the ballpark, Freddie.
Yeah,
right from the opening pitch.
Are you putting it on the fans? You're saying the fans are not loud enough?
No, I don't know. It's a good question. Obviously they got to pitch better. Their pitching has really struggled since the All-Star break. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Well,
right.
The answer, as far as I'm concerned, for this season is they played so far over their heads for so long, and now it's kind of water finding its level. This talent, their talent did not equal their record for periods of time there in July. Correct?
I agree with that. Yeah. It's a good assessment of this team, and I think what you're trying to do is look big picture and find what you can find for building blocks, and you've got Alex Cora in place, and you kind of go from there. So,
how many of these kids that just moved up to AAA do you think are on the Major League roster next year?
Next year to start, I'd be interested to see in camp. How many guys come with. I'm sure they'll all be up and getting a taste of it.
Well, if they're in AAA, I would hope so.
I don't know how many will be on the team. I think maybe Teal seems to have that mentality. Just watching him from afar. I think the concern with Marcelo Meyer and has been is, can he stay healthy?
Well, let's talk about
he's
that.
Hurt
now.
again.
Let's talk about that. Marcelo Meyer is officially done for the season, Fred, after dealing with a lumbar strain in his lower back. It is the second straight year that Meyer has suffered a season-ending injury, and as Dan well knows, it was a shoulder that knocked him out in, I believe it was late July, and he never came back. Marcelo Meyer is unquestionably the top prospect in the Red Sox system. He was considered the can't-miss kid, but now Danny's having trouble staying on the field, and that is a major concern. Alex Cora said as much yesterday.
Yeah, it's a huge concern. I mean, it's he's got the talent. You see that, but you have to develop it and you have to be able to play. You have to get onto the field. So, it's a big red flag, and it's disappointing. He's got to feel awful about it, but, I guess you just kind of hope that he gets healthy and stays healthy once he gets to an older level physically. Yes, Mike.
Would you deal him? If you could get a
long and
picture,
hard about
in
it,
return.
sure. At this point in the way I look at him and the way I look at this Red Sox team, I think I'd be tempted to, question about that. But then it's like one of those things, though. It's like Chris Sale. You're going to trade him, and then all of a sudden he'll be fine, and look what he does, right? It's just kind of one of those things you think about, and you're like, I don't know. You've invested so much in him. You got him at the 4th pick overall. You weren't supposed to get him.
Well, I think
you got to show patience.
I think that narrative has kind of destroyed this whole thing. It's from the very beginning. When they took him with the 4th pick and everyone was like, oh, he should have been the 1st pick, da-da-da. And then every conversation around the Red Sox is kind of revolved around this kid's future. I mean, Castellanos was supposed to be I can name you a million guys that were supposed to be, look at Torkelson. Like, there's all these guys that were supposed to be the guy, and you project your whole future of your franchise around this one person. And, it's a 19-year-old kid. I think Meyer was probably 18, 19. And, like, you project your whole future around, and if he doesn't show, then and Castellanos is like a good Major League Baseball player. He's just not a star. But I mean, how often do these guys become like? I would have dealt them too. I mean, there's too much. There's too much riding on him. Yeah. I would deal him now. And if you get a picture and he goes and Meyer goes and he has a very good career, then it is what it is. But it's not like you're losing them like you have other veterans in the past that are already established and going on that.
Well, and you don't have any pitching in your system, right? That's pretty much how it is. Then you have position players now that they've built and can use as building blocks.
I hope they find some that aren't so damn homophobic. Yes, John.
Well, I was you were Dan chomping at the bit to talk about Danny Jansen. History made in Game 1 of the doubleheader. Jansen became the first Major League Baseball player ever to technically play for both teams in the same game. He was at bat in June when the game was suspended, traded to the Red Sox in July, and he actually was catching for the Red Sox when the game resumed. I'm sure you had a big smile on your face. Baseball history.
And it was a cool moment. It was just hyped and hyped and hyped.
Yeah, well, let's hear it, because do we have that, Mike? Let's hear. Do you have the clip of him coming in at all?
Who? Sorry, I wasn't.
It was Jansen.
I have Cora talking about him.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you, when he came into the game, I heard it on the way in today. Yeah. You could hear the excitement. I mean, there was a lot of excitement going on in the broadcast. They're like, yeah, there was a rain out, and funny enough, he was up to bat, and now he's catching his own at bat.
History.
At pop-up.
You know what? At bat's over. Let's keep going.
Yeah. I know. It was a nice footnote.
Was it one pitch at bat?
Yeah. Then it was over, and it's time to move on.
Yeah,
it's baseball.
Because it sounded like a lot cooler than it ended up looking.
It was so hyped. It was like.
Well, I mean, how often is it the first time that something happened in baseball? Like, it's a very old game, and but just the fact that he was just catching, and then they're like, his own at bat, and you're like, yeah, but he's not at bat. He's not doing both. That would have been fun. If he had to,
if he had walked out there in a Blue Jays uniform, then ceremonially ripped it off, and the Red Sox uniform was underneath. Aha! Then we're talking.
Yeah, like Hogan.
That heel turn.
You rip it off. He's coming out a heel and leaving a face.
Hollywood Hogan.
And the Hall of Fame was there. You know what I mean? To collect the artifacts of it and everything else.
The guy walks out
there. Cool
there.
footnote, like down the road.
Yeah. I mean, it's really it's why your kids go. It's why you take your kids to
see
the
that uniform.
And here comes Danny Jansen.
So Cooper Criswell starts tonight at Fenway as this 5-game series continues. But the big story, I'm told, and Mike Lockhart is interested in this. I have no idea what this is, but he told me that we had to play this. The Yankees beat the Washington Nationals last night 5-2. Aaron Judge did not hit a home run, Fred, but Jazz Chisholm did.
La Sorsa delivers, and it is lined into right and deep. Back at the wall, the right fielder. Adios, amigo. Smooth Jazz into the bullpen and right. And the Yankees get the run back. And it is now 5-1 New York.
5-1.
Man, that smooth jazz ain't jazz, man. That smooth jazz is like reefer. My bebop be heroin.
Smooth Jazz.
This is Jazz Wallach. Man, what you talking about, that smooth jazz crap?
La Sorsa.
I'll smash your fingers in a car door and make you treat me like a man and you like a lady.
Adios, amigo.
Look at your fat ass. That soft skin, I'm gonna touch and make you feel like a lady.
5-1 New York.
I need money for H. Come on, Jack. Come on, Jazz. Jazz was kind to me, but it put this spike in my arm. Oh, Jazz Wallach. That trumpet.
Smooth Jazz.
That trumpet made a big old gap in these teeth. All right, very good. Thank you.
Any excuse?
Was that was the English language broadcast?
That was the English language broadcaster. Yes, and
that is the guy who's in for Sterling. The guy that is taking. That's one of the guys who's taken over for Sterling.
I have no idea. Is that
I don't
who
know.
it
He
is?
doesn't sound at all like he wants to be John Sterling.
5-1 New York.
Yeah, he doesn't. It's funny.
Yeah.
Did you hear that the Yankees are considering bringing Sterling back to call the playoffs?
I have not.
Yes,
I'm not up on
that's
that.
the rumor that Sterling now wants back in to call the playoffs.
Well, he was back a few weeks ago, right?
That I didn't know.
I think he did a guest spot a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, judging by what I've read about him, it's no doubt. I have no doubt he wants to come back. It seemed like his life was incredibly depressing outside of the ballpark. Just very quickly, we've talked about it before, but there was this piece on him, and you think it's just going to be this piece on John Sterling. Who cares? And it was the saddest thing. He's like, he lived in like Hoboken, which is fine, but he had like a 1-bedroom apartment. He would go home and he would VHS like soap operas. So when he got home from the road, he would just get back into his room and watch the soap operas, and then microwave like a lean cuisine and go to bed. It seemed like a very, very sad existence for Mr. Sterling. Not a lot going on. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
La Sorsa.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox only 3 games over 500 for the first time in a couple of months. They lost 2 games to Toronto yesterday, 4-1 in the first game, and a continuation or completion of a game from late June. And then last night, 7-3, George Springer home runs in both games for the Winners. Jarren Duran home runs in both games for the Red Sox. They're 5 games out of a playoff spot. They'll play the Blue Jays again tonight. Top Sox minor leaguer Marcelo Meyer reportedly done for the season thanks to a lumbar strain in his lower back. In NFL news, all teams have to be down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Patriots waived 14 players today, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. And Dallas has signed wide receiver CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. This September, make losing weight part of your new routine. Energy, clarity, better health. Find it all at awaken180weightloss.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Here we go.
Boom. I win.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's the buddy. We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. John, what else is going on?
Well, let's talk about the Patriots, Fred. Today is cutdown day in the National Football League. All teams have to cut from 90 players to 53 by 4 p.m. this afternoon. Patriots cut 14 players yesterday as they began that process. It includes defensive lineman Sam Roberts, tight end LaMichael Petway, Mikey Victor, a defensive back among those who were waived. But the big story is Gerard Mayo. He continues to navigate his first season in charge by dealing with a quarterback controversy. Drake May, I think we can all agree, was the better quarterback over the course of the summer, but Jacoby Brissett has been his starter since the season began.
Drake has played better. Now, in saying that, everyone wants to know who the starter is going to be. I think there are multiple factors that kind of have to go into this decision. One is the total body of work, whether we're talking about the spring or the entirety of training camp. And then I would also say, oftentimes we forget about just the overall experience that a guy like Jacoby has, which will also be weighted in the decision that we have to make here in the near future.
So, Coach, now that you've told all of us that Drake May is a better quarterback than Jacoby Brissett, who is the starting quarterback against Cincinnati?
I think every situation is unique because, I don't want to fall into this narrative fallacy or anything like that, because you have seen, rookie quarterbacks go out there and perform at a high level. And I don't know what the story, how the story ends with Drake's rookie season, but all possibilities are open, and we'll see what happens as far as who we name the starter here in the near future.
All right, Josina Anderson, a former Fox and CBS NFL insider, reported last night the Patriots are still leaning towards Brissett as a result of other factors. She doesn't specify what those factors are, but I think we can all agree it has everything to do with the offensive line and not wanting to put the kid behind it.
Yeah. You want to go into Cincinnati week 1 and have to deal with all that. Brissett played in the division. He played for Cleveland. He knows this offense. So it makes sense. I mean, Drake May, let's put it this way. Even if you take out ruining Drake May, your chances of beating the Bengals are better with Brissett at quarterback week 1. So you're better off. I mean, he knows the system way better. He's played in the NFL before, and he's played in that division. So you're better off with Brissett at quarterback any way you slice it.
The other factor, and I saw this from a couple of places last night, I think Phil Perry said it, there are a bunch of guys who said, in the NFL, you're dealing with more vanilla defenses. You're not dealing with exotic blitzes. You're not dealing with the top players blitzing you like
in the
that.
preseason.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's what I meant to say. But the point is, although Drake May did well, he didn't see the full package of any team that he faced. And especially facing a good team like Cincinnati, it will probably be better for him to sit and watch and see what full speed is in an NFL game against good players.
Yeah, you would just be playing him to quicken the process, I suppose. It could have the opposite effect, but that's the only real reason to play him in week 1.
Here's my only thing.
Well, you've been there, so you tell us.
So here's watching everything, and I was thinking 19 of the 20 practices and the 3 preseason games, is that you saw this kid come in wide-eyed and just ready to learn, and they took it slowly. So they talk about this plan of developing a quarterback, and I think it goes back to let's break him down. I think Van Pelton and company decided let's break him down to the bottom minimum fundamentally and get him going again with his footwork and everything else. So when he played only 6 plays in that first preseason game, it was basically to get him to call plays in a huddle, which he hadn't done at Carolina, to get his footwork right, to hand the ball off, just to do the simplest of things, dumb it down, and get him better. And then everyone on that team and around that team said the same thing as we all saw in game 2. He turned a corner of confidence. His confidence seemed to rise when he was able to make some plays. When he threw the ball to Baker and just fell short on that deep ball, everything looked like this kid's an NFL quarterback. He's better than Mac. He's better than a lot of these prospects we've seen. And then in that third game, it was the same thing. He's better than Jacoby. So I think the Patriots staff has been trying to keep him down and just, hey, we're going to take it easy with you. We've seen this as a successful plan. We'll put you in X, whatever game it is. And now he's ahead of that plan. And I think what it maybe is driving everybody crazy, including Gerard Mayo, is I disagree with you, Fred, is that I think that, yes, Brissett has the history of that, of knowing, having played at Cleveland, knowing Cincinnati, Van Pelt to Cleveland and Brissett and what have you. is this kid our best option to beat the Cincinnati Bengals in week 1? And I think if you look at it, he might be.
You think that May
because
is?
of how good he is, yeah. Because of the kid is just better than anybody thought on that staff at this point. That he's come way above and way quicker than anybody thought. And even May alluded to that in his post-game presser the other day. He said, I'm quicker at reading defenses. I'm really good at reading blitzes and what have you.
Yeah, but Belichick will play. It was on McAfee, and John mentioned it. He said that defenses are running one or two schemes and that they're deliberately putting corners in man-to-man situations so they can see if they can handle man-to-man situations. So however he's been reading defenses in practice or in these preseason games is that I don't doubt he's much better physically than Brissett. I don't doubt that maybe he could pull something out of his ass and, make a spectacular play that, out of nothing, and maybe that's the difference in the game. But I don't buy that he can read defenses better than Brissett or that he's capable of doing that. I mean,
is he capable of playing better than Brissett in the season opener? That's the question. Now, I don't disagree with you because I would play Brissett. I would.
I know, but
I'm telling you what I think they're going through.
But maybe he would. I'm just saying, maybe he would be from a physical standpoint. But there's no way he's going to be able to go into that game and understand everything that's going on defensively with Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati's a very good team, and I don't think that there's any way that in his first game, 21-year-old kid coming from that with a terrible offensive coordinator last year in North Carolina, from all accounts, is going to come in there and understand everything that's going on. Game speed, real time. Everyone says it's completely different. I just said maybe he can run around and with his arm strength, he just chucks he makes a couple big plays, and that's what it takes. Cincinnati, I heard Joe Murray talking about it, struggles in the opening games. I think they're 1-4 in Burrow's career in opening games.
Yeah, I believe so. That's pretty good, Fred.
And so, but there's no way he's going to go in there. Has any quarterback ever gone in there and looked like he knew what was going on in his first game? Like, look completely comfortable.
I mean, you look at Peyton Manning's numbers from his rookie year.
But it's not even quarterbacks that had good rookie years. Even quarterbacks that had success in rookie years. Has there ever been a quarterback that's come in and looked like he had the answers to the test? And I would imagine if May's playing, that's got to be a defensive coordinator's dream for a good team. You just scheme up a bunch of stuff. And by the way, if you play him against
especially with that offensive line, Fred, that's the other issue too.
Yeah, and good luck. If you play him against the Bengals, have fun in week 3 and week 4 against the Jets and 49ers. Against those two defenses, they're going to kill them. You think that they can beat the Jets with Drake May at quarterback? Or the 49ers with Drake May at quarterback? I mean, they can't beat him with Brissett at quarterback, but I mean, at least you could be conservative with Brissett.
Well, and I think the best example would be C.J. Stroud, which is everybody's talking about C.J. Stroud. Last year, they lost. The Texans came out, and they were on the road at Baltimore, right? Mm-hmm. Similar team with that kind of defense and what have you. And C.J. Stroud was 28 of 44 for 242 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, was sacked 5 times, and had a quarterback rating of 78% and a 25-9 loss.
All right. Mac Jones, first game, 29 of 39, 281, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, only 1 sack, passer rating 102.6.
Better line. Right?
And cerebral.
Very cerebral.
So cerebral.
Very cerebral.
I like the C.J. Stroud one better because it goes along with my argument.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's the dilemma.
But Mac Jones was playing with Saban in a much better team. I mean, whatever.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, it goes against my
Mayo,
whenever look like they the answer. Yeah,
I think Mayo is sitting there saying he's watching this kid on a daily basis and watching what he's doing in games, and it's got to be picking at him because he's like a player, right? He's sitting there saying, hey, maybe we can pull this off. And I'm sure that's going through his mind as well. But he knows deep down that the best thing to do is to not play him and put Jacoby out there.
And he also knows he is the worst team in the NFL. I mean, he knows that. I mean, he knows he has a terrible team. He's there. I mean, you're there. You talk? You're there with all the same guys that come in here and talk to me in between shows. The guys that come in here is a death march. Everyone's saying it's like they're terrible. John knows. They're just terrible. They're just terrible.
Yep.
They're terrible. This isn't on the air. This isn't for the listeners. Every one of them that I've talked to, and I'm not a big insider just because I'm here and they come in and I'm leaving, and not even Zolak. I haven't even talked to Zolak. I talked about super crap with Zolak.
But, yeah.
But like the guys that have been with the team, the guys that cover the team are like, they're terrible. They're terrible. They're really, really bad. And they know it. They say the Patriots know it. So Mayo might go, Drake May's good, but he knows his team's not. And if he doesn't know his team's not, and everyone else does, they're in deep trouble.
No, I think Mayo has full idea of what his roster looks like. He's not a dumb guy. He knows exactly what's
I
going
will
on.
go back to what you said, Fred.
For the listeners out there, this is not Sports Hub negativity. I'm telling you, I swear to God, these guys come in and they're not trying to impress me. They're just like, they're terrible. And they're not even talking to me half the time. They're talking to Hardy. But I've learned to listen to other people's conversations because I don't have any friends. All right, we have to break. We'll be back in
I have
just a
something to
moment.
say, too, when we come back about what you said yesterday, and I'll agree with you. Whoa.
All right, we'll have to get to that almost immediately.
Whoa.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Your home of the Pats. 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox are now only 3 games over 500 for the first time since late June after a pair of losses to Toronto at Fenway Park yesterday. Game 1 was a 4-1 Blue Jays win, and then Toronto took the night game 7-3. Alex Cora's team committed 6 errors and scored a total of 4 runs across the 2 games.
They found that lane with Yarbrough, right, with the lineup that we had against the lefties. He did his job. We put pressure on him in the 6th. It just didn't happen. Right now, it's not happening for us right now.
George Springer hit homers in each game for the visitors. Jarren Duran hit homers in each game for the Red Sox. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 5 games out of a playoff spot. Cooper Criswell will face the Blue Jays tonight. Top Sox minor leaguer Marcelo Meyer is also reportedly done for the season thanks to a lumbar strain in his lower back. All NFL teams have to get down to 53 players by 4 o'clock this afternoon. Patriots got a jump on that yesterday by waiving 14 players, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. The Dallas Cowboys have signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract. They will also reportedly work out free agent running back Dalvin Cook today. Denver has reportedly decided to move on from veteran wideout Tim Patrick and running back Samaje Perine. Tennessee yesterday traded quarterback Malik Willis to Green Bay for a 7th-round pick. And yesterday was day 1 of the U.S. Open tennis tournament. American Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic were among your day 1 winners. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning. 24-hour on-call service for your clogged drain emergencies. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Let's talk turkey, shall we?
Blah, 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 blah.
No, in the sports industry, that's what you say.
Got your talking head right here, buddy.
98.5 The Sports Hub. Ta-da! We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5.
Toucher and Hardy. Hardy's not here, so Dan Roach is, along with Wallach. Danny, we were talking about the Patriots. You've been at camp. What did you want to say?
I wanted to say what you kind of said yesterday is that, well, 2 things. One, if you're looking for optimism, which I'm here to bring you, I think Drake May has all the it qualities you want in a quarterback. He's shown that. He's shown the ability to do what he's doing at a higher level quickly. So I think that's the most promising thing I've seen in camp. But the other thing is, Fred, like you said yesterday, they cannot be any worse offensively than they were down the stretch last year. It was painful to watch. It was painful to be there. That they have to be better than that this year, no matter who's out there playing on this football team.
Yeah,
so that's how I looked at it. And you said, I thought you were spot on in saying that. It was so bad, historically bad last year, where all they needed Mac Jones to do was make one play in that game in Germany, and they'd come out victorious, and he couldn't do that. So it has to be better.
Yeah, the entertainment value of those games last year was so awful that even look, I don't like that. 4.5 is the win total. I don't think many people like that over with the win total, based on their schedule and just how terrible this team is right now. But you said it off the air. Who do you just say it on the air? Who do you think their best offensive player is?
Jalen Polk.
All right, so that's
their rookie wide receiver.
See, if you're a fan, then that's good, right?
Yes.
Like, pay attention to all this news on May and the fact that it's even being discussed at all. That May has been surprisingly ahead of the curve, and that he could. I mean, he's not going to, but he could, conceivably start in the first game. If Polk is good, just those 2 guys, then you've won this draft. Obviously, you don't even need Polk to be good. If you May, obviously, is the draft. But if those 2 guys are good, then you won that draft. And the way the NFL is now, you really only have to hit on next year's draft. And now you're talking about being a contender. Then you spice in some free agents, and then you're a contender. Buffalo's on the downswing. Aaron Rodgers has only got a year or 2 left. And then, it could be this, in the 3rd year of Drake May, you're challenging for a playoff spot. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, first of all, this team badly needs a left tackle. And there are 2 of them, and Mike Lockhart could probably speak to this more than I can, but there are 2 of them that are going to be top tier in the draft. There's a kid from LSU, and there's another kid from Texas, right?
Yes.
Those are the 2 guys.
Yep.
So if you are the Patriots and you finish 3-14 or 4-13 again, and you wind up with a top 3 pick, and Fred, we've discussed this, but I want Dan's point of view on this. That's a good thing because all these quarterback hungry teams will want to trade up. It will give you an opportunity to trade down, accumulate a lot more picks, still get the left tackle you desperately need. Apparently, this kid Campbell didn't give up a sack at all last year. Apparently, he's one of those franchise tackles. You draft him 5th, 6th, 7th.
Oh, well, who says that
go.
the top tackle in the draft is going to be there 6th, 7th in the first round?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, that's a long time away, Mike. Relax.
I guess what I'm saying is
that's what I'm talking about.
he won't go 2nd or 3rd.
Why?
Right? All right. You all the projections I see right now don't have him as
season
2 or
hasn't
3.
started. We're going to start talking mock drafts now?
I'm trying to make a point
But
here.
here's how I look at it. You should be, if you're a Patriots fan this year, you should be on a 2-year plan. Right? Basically, that's what you say to yourself. Okay, it looks like they've got, as Fred said, that franchise quarterback. Now, over the next 2 seasons, including this year and next year, they need to find a tackle, and they need to find a number 1 wide receiver over the next 2 years. And then if you find that, you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. Right? Because that's what you want to, that's the key to success in the NFL. It's simple, and you kind of build off of that. So that's where you are. So you've got one piece in place, it looks like, and then they need to somehow find that tackle. They need to find a number 1 wideout, and I think they can be pretty good.
Another thing that you need to succeed in the NFL is the number 1 corner. They thought they had that in Christian Gonzalez. I know it's the preseason, but people have been very down on him this preseason. What have you seen, Daniel?
I haven't seen enough of him to get down on him just yet. You know what I
mean? You got to get in the
I
trenches.
think but part of it, Fred, is you go to these practices and you're trying to watch as much as you can, and I have my binoculars and what have you. There's only so much you can focus on now. To sit there and say, has he been beaten time and time again? I don't know. I haven't watched every single rep of his.
Well, you saw him against A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah, A.J. Brown is going to be really good. Like, I don't want to say anything, Mike and Fred, because of our league, but
sounds like you might be going 2nd overall.
Oh, you got the number 2. All of us in this room are in the same fantasy league.
That's right.
And all the 3 of us are at the end of the first round. Yeah. One of us is at the top.
Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. Yes, I
draft
just
is coming. I have 2 drafts at the same time on Monday night.
Oh, it must be so
my son's
difficult
league and our league
to be so popular. Well, it's funny.
My favorite part of last year was when you were on with Dave Richard, and you were like saying you're looking for a running back, and Dave recommended somebody, and I claimed him just before you could do it when you were off the air. And you were so mad.
I just thought it was lame.
I didn't even need him. I did it just to tick you off.
I just thought it was lame.
It was the best.
It was just a lame thing to do.
Made my day, Freddie.
It's a $75 buy-in league. I like that everyone tries, but there's a point where you got to be cool.
Yep. I was peacocking around my living room after that move.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Pam, come in here. Let me tell you what I did.
God will smite you for such things. All right, so Bill Belichick was on the very talented Pat McAfee show.
Oh, I can't wait.
And thank you to the audience who saw that when he was broadcasting from Dublin that he fashioned a newsboy hat because, God, he sucks. I'm sorry, man. He sucks. And it was such a mistake to put him on. They gave him so much money. They're so dumb. Anyway, McAfee has Belichick, and since we're playing this, it's a testament to how great McAfee is in that they paid Belichick to come on the show. And Belichick is loose as a goose, and they ask him this.
New England Patriots were different, though. They had Jacoby start the game, then they had Drake May play. Both of them were able to showcase some stuff, even though Jacoby's taken off after 1 series. Yep. Feels like Drake May is going to be the starter up there, which has led to a lot of conversation around should he not?
Yeah, where is he going to be? Who's saying it looks like Drake May is going to be the starter? All right, whatever. He's got to cover everything, you know.
What is Dan Orlovsky is begging them, please don't do that. Let this guy kind of develop even more and even more. How do you feel on the entire subject? Do you baptize them and let them kind of do their thing? Is that kind of the debate that's taking place, you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think you really know how anybody's playing in preseason. I mean, especially at the quarterback position. The schemes are so simple.
What's he laughing at?
I was thinking the same thing. What are you laughing at?
Like he is like killing himself laughing in the background, like throughout this whole thing.
Let Bill speak. And
he thinks that he's like telling a joke, but he's not.
How was that funny?
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
It really is annoying. Like, what do you? And I like how Bill has to start with a smack.
Oh yeah, some habits die hard. The best is
he's just banging that 24-year-old getting lost on ring cams and smacking away. Every time I see him, I just go, there's a 24-year-old letting him in her. That's it. Can you know? He's so old. And he's not like George Clooney or Robert Redford 74 either. He's Bill Belichick. He's like your dad at 74.
It's very floppy.
Yeah, he's like
very good adjective.
Floppy. Every year of 74. Like he has not fought any of it. Like he's a 74-year-old dude. And God bless him. But he's not wearing like designer, like Italian suits and like slicking his hair
hair's
back,
not colored.
like,
And all that.
right? Exactly. Like he doesn't like have like a cool mustache.
I haven't slept in 50 years,
Like
and
him and
I'm
Pete
all,
Carroll are two different.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Well, Pete Carroll looks like he's 4. Like Pete Carroll's got like muscles, but which is weird because now I'm looking at him like, holy, you're older than Belichick. But anyway, he's not like dealing art. There's a certain kind of sophisticated 74-year-old that you could go, I could see why a woman would fall under his spell. He's a worldly, sophisticated man. He speaks 5 languages. I can understand that. And you're some intelligent, impressionable schoolgirl in Paris for the summer. I get all that. He's inviting you to these salons with the rich and famous. But then there's Belichick, who's like taking 6-hour dumps and like, leaving magazines all over the bathroom, and you gotta, and he's peeing in like in stutters, like you could hear him in the bathroom, like
start and restart,
starting and restarting, and he ain't living in like 90 either. I mean, this is a man who has not been healthy when he was coaching.
The other part of it is that McAfee is speaking 8 miles a minute. It's 33, sped up to 78, and then Belichick like slows down.
No. McAfee's a really bad broadcaster. He's just bad. We could nitpick every. I mean, yeah, he speeds up. He's like talking too jovial with him. Everything. He's not good at broadcasting.
So what did Bill say?
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan. And that's a very subtle way to get back into it.
Is that kind of the debate that's taking place, you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think you really know how anybody's playing in preseason. I mean, especially at the quarterback position. The schemes are so simple from the other side of the ball, generally speaking. You're running for the most part, you're running very basic schemes. You're trying to evaluate your players. You're trying to get them to play the good fundamentals that they know how to play. You're not disguising things. You just want your defensive players to be, ready to react and play fast and quickly. And you don't want to put in like 1,000 adjustments against a team who offensively isn't running that much anyway. So most of those games are very basic. When you watch the games, it's 2 or 3 coverages. You see a lot of man-to-man coverage because teams like to evaluate their players and see who can play man-to-man and who can't.
Well, that's where I got that, apparently. That's when I said that earlier. I guess that's where I came up with that whole thing. I was hearing this for the first time. Yeah.
Come out of preseason and say, oh, this guy's really playing good, or that guy's really playing good. I wouldn't put much stock in that at all. I'd put more stock in what they're doing in practice, and let's see what happens in the first 3 or 4 regular season games. I've never felt like, that's why opening day is so hard. You don't know your team well enough to know how they're, even if it's the same players, it's different circumstances. You're going against a different opponent.
Well, do you agree? It sounds like he thinks they should play Brissett.
Yes, that's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah. So,
and it makes a lot of sense. Everything he's saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah, there's no negative to sitting Drake May. I don't know what the
You're not trying to win
here.
anything this year, and there's nothing more important than developing this quarterback.
But even, John, I could give you the argument that they have a better chance of winning this particular game with Brissett. Again, his experience with Van Pelt, he knows, or at least the offense. He's been in the division. If he hasn't played against Cincinnati, he's been on teams that played against Cincinnati. He's prepared for Cincinnati, like this under this regime. Like, so I think that the week 1 you have a better chance of winning with them. Yeah, and I do agree with you. I think the games that you want to win, I think you want to beat the Colts and you want to beat the Cardinals and you want May at quarterback. And those are 2 winnable games at the end of the season. Let's see, 17, 16, 15, 14, and 13. So if weeks 13 and 14, if you can win those 2 games and you're a Patriots fan and May's playing and you win those 2 games, or you're very competitive in those 2 games, then that's it. Then
can I ask you a question though?
Yeah, because I'd rather lose, by the way, draft stock next year in order to win games at the end of the year. I do believe that because I do think it's important. Go ahead.
Put your head coaching cap on, and
it's always on.
If I walk into the room today or what have you with that team and say to them, what? I mean, because the bottom line in the NFL is it's about winning, right? That's all people care about. That's all that we've time and time again. To look at the team and say, now if you're thinking like Mayo, like you are, Fred, then you say, listen, I think this is the best way to beat this team, blah, 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 with Jacoby at quarterback. I think what Gerard Mayo is trying to do is sit there and say, look in the mirror at yourself and say, if I start Drake May, do I have a better chance to beat Cincinnati? Because all the players care about is what can we do this week and how can we win?
What I would say is who on this team is in any position to demand anything. I'm being serious.
But I think as a coach, you owe that to your players, don't you?
No. I think you owe that to the players if you have a bunch of veterans that have been through the wars and that they're like looking to win.
Which is the defense.
But you've paid the guys that you want to keep. Who on this defense do you have to like? Who do they owe anything to? These guys are lucky a lot. Well, I guess defensive, even on defense, they took care of the guys who they're hurt. Who on the defense specifically would you be talking about? Because everyone's pretty young, or they just re-signed them. So I don't know.
But
I don't think there would be a disconnect.
Talk to anybody
and
on
plus,
that
you know
defense.
they all like Brissett. And you know that you know how these NFL things go. I bet you they prefer Brissett start. Personally, I bet you they would prefer Brissett starts.
Oh, I think they'll be fine, but I'm just saying.
I don't think you're losing it. I don't think you're losing it. I don't think Mayo's.
I think guys like Javon Bentley, guys like Devon Godchuk,
how much
are there every single day and have to go through what they went through last
year.
year.
I'm not concerned about those two guys. And by the way,
but as a coach, you have to be.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, because what are they? What's the alternative?
So what if they're getting paid this contract?
Because they're not leaving anywhere. But my point is this. I do want to ask you one thing very quickly. I mean, how much of this is even Mayo's decision? I mean, this is not entirely Mayo's decision under any circumstance. He said as much.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm
just saying what I think's going through his mind. That's all. That's why you hear some of the contradiction of what he's saying to the press. That's all.
I also, he has no responsibility to tell the press the truth. But also, Dan, if that's what's weighing on Mayo, I'd be very concerned about his ongoing success as a head coach because he's got a. I wouldn't be afraid about losing the team going into week one. I'd be afraid about losing this team when you're 0-8. Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's very possible this team could start the season 1-5, 1-6 just by looking at the schedule here.
I mean,
it's very possible.
It's more likely than not.
Let's say.
Of course you. Well, there you go, Dan.
Let's say the Jets do Jet things and the Patriots figure out a way to win. Let's just say that happens and they go 3-3. Does it matter what the record is when you want to make the change to Drake May, based on what we know about this team?
Yes, I would think so. Yes, but now we're projecting a situation that's just not going to happen. You're playing the Bengals, the Seahawks, the Jets, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Texans. You're not winning 3 of those games. There's no way. There's no way.
Let me ask you this. If you go out there week one and go with Brissett, and I think we're all in agreement that you go with Brissett, and he gets hit like he did last week, and he gets knocked out of the game. Are you okay with Drake May coming into the game?
That's a conversation that I've had with every guy that's come in here because I think that's a very dangerous situation. I think that they should keep.
That's Mike Reiss.
We should.
Huh,
why'd
Fred?
you set it up? You stink.
That's a tease, folks.
Yeah. Now I know what you're doing. I thought you were asking, but you just want to get into the interview because you saw Dan saying it was time to break.
No, I didn't. I was just thinking of my buddy on the other side.
All right.
Hi, Dan!
Mike Reiss will join us in just a moment. Our good friend Mike Reiss is the ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Patriots. I heard him on national radio this morning, not live like us, but
It's my travel buddy.
Oh yeah,
I'm psyched.
You two, you'll dine together. He'll
We're
watch
just
you
together at the stadium from sun up till sundown.
I thought he watched you eat chicken fingers at whatever Houlihan's was in the area. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Mike Reiss, hello, sir.
Good morning, Fred. Hey, John. Hey, Rochi. Rochi, what a tease. That was well done.
Thank you, Mike.
It was rude is what it is. It was a little peacocking, saying I wasn't getting in and out of things fast enough. But that's, I guess, where we're going to be. Well, Mike, we've been talking about it. It's a hot topic. I heard you on the national radio talking about it today. Well, first of all, is Brissett hurt?
I was told yesterday, Fred, that he was in the facility and no change. Like that, what Gerard Mayo had said after the game, that he could have kept playing if the plan wasn't, to just play him for a series or two, and that like he didn't come in and say like this is a problem. So my understanding, status quo with him. So whatever they're doing, I don't think any injury is part of the consideration.
Okay, and the second question obviously is, do you buy that there really is like a real debate with the coaches in the front office about who to start week one? And if so, how are they leaning?
So I do buy it. I think they're leaning toward Jacoby Brissett. I sort of make the analogy, Fred, to like a horse race. Like I think 2 weeks ago, we were coming down the home stretch and Jacoby Brissett was so far ahead. And like now here comes like Drake May on the outside and they're getting to the wire. And it's like, I don't want to say it's by a nose, but Drake May is like making a charge here that at least sparks like a conversation for them to have. I just don't, to me, it was so much ground to make up coming down the home stretch that I guess I'd be surprised myself, my opinion, if they go to Drake May. But he's at least made it interesting here the last couple weeks.
Who would you go with, Mike?
I would go with Jacoby, Dan. I think, part of this is I was looking at it. So when the games, when you watch the games the last 2 weeks, it is clear that it's Drake. But then you listen to like Bill Belichick yesterday, and I heard you guys talking about this on the prior segment when he's talking to Pat McAfee, Bill Belichick. And he says, like, focus more on the practices than the games. And I thought that was like a really good point by a great coach, obviously Belichick, because what are we looking at in the games? We're watching them against second string, third string players. There's no scheming. And I think it's so, in the practices, to me, Drake's probably been a little bit better there too, but it maybe hasn't been as extreme as what we've seen in the games where Jacoby's hardly played. Jacoby's played 27 snaps in the preseason games. Drake's played 66. So in that sense, if you're just looking at the games, Dan, it's almost like an unfair fight. And then I look at it and say, if KJ Osborne, put up two hands, catch a really good pass from Brissett, are we even having, you know what I mean?
And the receiver ran the wrong route in the second game, right? That was exactly the reason we were given for the interception. So yeah, I think Fred said it best too, right? Is that if you look at all the factors, especially opening in Cincinnati and where Alex Van Pelt comes from and where Brissett's been with him, it's kind of a no-brainer in my mind anyway that you go with Brissett. And yes, the future continues to shine brighter and brighter for Drake May.
And two things can be true, guys. Like I heard the clip coming in the segment here from Beetle where he said it's clear that Drake May is the best quarterback. Like the best, like he has the best upside and the best tools, and we've seen them like the most potential. But I think that was true on day one. That's why they drafted him. And it's what Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, had said is just like, you want to make sure he has the answers to get himself out of trouble. And that's what Jacoby has from being in the system. And I think the safe play, and I'm probably more of a conservative person by nature, would be to just start with Jacoby, first few games, see what it looks like, and then you can have the discussion after that.
Another story surrounding this team, Mike, is the way that Gerard Mayo is handling this with the media. What is your impression of this? Because he flat out said Drake was the better quarterback yesterday, but now it appears he's not going to start him.
So, John, I think it's just such an extreme from what we had prior. I think he's just telling you honestly what he feels and what the coaches see. Like lately, or at this current point, like Drake has played better than Jacoby, but that's not the only factor in making a decision on who's going to be the starter. Like, to me, and I might be in the minority here, John, like, it's a little jarring only because we haven't heard like such honesty and open thought on what they're really thinking. I think if you know Gerard, that's just like it's who he is. It's also, I think there's a part of him that he wants fans that are invested in the team to know what they're thinking. Does that make sense, John? Or is it?
No. What you're saying makes sense. That's one point of view. The other is, it just seems to me, listening to him, and you're there, you physically see him a lot more than I do, and anyone else does. It just seems like he's kind of feeling his way along. It doesn't. I don't know how to phrase this correctly. It's going to come out wrong. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of conviction at times, if you understand what I'm saying.
He might be saying that to the media, but trust me, he's just watching him and observing him for the last several months. He's got a lot of conviction, I think. I think he has a game plan. He knows what he's doing and what he wants to do. I just think he's trying to be as honest with the media as he can possibly be.
And I think, John, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, I think what you're saying is it feels like there's a mixed message. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's fair. Yes.
Okay. And I think I can understand why people would think that if you're just taking the words at face value. I think, like, you got to understand who it is. Or I don't want to say you have to understand, but I think it's understanding who's saying it. Like, this is who Gerard Mayo is. It's sort of always been the way he is. And I think, and this is especially extreme for me after listening to Bill Belichick for 24 years, the difference between what we had heard all those years to now is so extreme that it almost amplifies it, John. And I don't think it is a mixed message. I think it's just who Gerard is personally. That's my view of it.
How much of the decision is ultimately Gerard Mayo's, in your opinion?
So I mean, honestly, Fred, I think the buck stops with Gerard. So it's his decision, but I think he's leaning heavily on Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator, to advise him on the decision. But ultimately, Gerard's going to be accountable for the decision. He is the head coach. And does that make sense? I mean,
I think he's also relying on them. They had a plan, Fred, right?
No,
I
understand.
They're relying on that, but I just think bottom line,
let
he'll
me
make the
ask
decision.
what I want to ask because I have a specific thing, Daniel.
All right, I'll just shut up over here. Okay?
Because Alex Van Pelt. Jesus, you are something.
Pouting?
I mean, I'm not pouting at all.
You get a TV guy. You got two TV guys. You got one on the phone.
There are no cameras on.
The
YouTube people can see him.
It's Dan and Mike. They're two TV guys. Give me the spotlight. Look at me.
No, you go, Fred. Just
Love
go.
you, Fred.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Fred.
will. Thank
Fred,
you.
Yeah, good.
I understand Alex Van Pelt's and he's leaning on him because he's calling him like a head coach offense.
Yeah.
Like Elliott Wolf, though, with the quarterback specifically, do you think how much does the front office? Because this is the future, right? Elliott Wolf's tied to Drake May. Mayo's tied to the team and everything, but Elliott Wolf is Drake May's his future. How much do you think the front office is weighing in on all the quarterback stuff?
So I would think, Fred, that they're in the discussion. And the reason I say it is I think Gerard Mayo has acknowledged that. I think when he was asked this stuff, this topic, he says, talk to Alex, talk to Elliott. So I would think Elliott's in those discussions. But I would think if you're making a pie of the three people, who has the greater say on what the ultimate decision is, Elliott's is much, it should be much smaller. His job is to supply the players, but if he's getting into telling them who to play, to me, that would signal a greater problem.
All right. Today's cut down day, Mike. It's one of the busier days of the year for you to see who's leaving and who's coming in. How many starters on the offensive line are the Patriots going to wind up with today, picking up the scraps from everybody else?
John, I actually have a list of 4 that I went through the waiver wire to just say who are some offensive linemen out there that have some starting experience that they might be able to sign or claim. They're not great names, John. So I would temper the expectations, like Matt Nelson of the Giants, Max Sharping of the Eagles, Lewis Kidd of the 49ers, Ja'Tyre Carter of the Bears. These are the names we're talking about. So I think it's more about a depth player, like a 7th offensive lineman or an 8th, because when you lose one of your top guys, the drop-off looks pretty extreme. Now, there's a whole nother wave of players that are going to get waived that maybe it looks different, but John, they're not like teams aren't giving away starting offensive linemen, so I'd be temper on that one.
Mike, what did you make of the whole offensive line show on Sunday? It was bizarre. I was watching with my binoculars, and after the second one, I think by Owenu, or the first by Owenu, after the second, by the line. Mayo went over to the offensive line and was basically showing them exactly what they needed to do, and they came out and did it again, and then they did it again, and then in the post presser, Owenu was kind of defiant, saying, we were okay, other than the fact that they kept calling that illegal formation. And then Mayo was saying how disappointed he was in his offensive line that they couldn't get that simple thing right. I found it was just bizarre the way it unfolded Sunday night.
Yeah, right after the game, Dan, I think I used the word embarrassing. You're on national TV and you can't line up. I just thought it was a bad look for the team, bad look for the players, bad look for the coaches. And then, watch the game over again, and I would say in the first quarter, other than the terrible play where Brissett got crunched, I thought the offensive line, just in that first quarter, before they started having the alignment issues, was not as bad, right? So I wouldn't be as emotional as I was right after the game when I was reacting to that. I also think there's another thing in play here, and not to take him off the hook because it was embarrassing. National TV game, referee who throws a lot of flags, trying to make a point, not just to the Patriots, but to the rest of the league, which everyone's watching because it's the only game. I could almost see the league, calling up the referee, Sean Hockley, saying, hey, great job. We needed you to get the point across to the rest of the league. And, the Patriots they allowed themselves to get caught in that situation. Got to fix it. But I think there was something, there was that dynamic in play too there, Dan.
Can I ask one last question, Fred?
Proceed.
You sure?
Oh, boy.
All right, Mike, just quickly. I don't know how you feel, but I think that the emergence and continued emergence of maybe your best receiver is Jalen Polk is another positive sign for Patriots fans as we get set to start this journey.
Yeah, yesterday Mayo was asked about who has caught his eye, and he actually mentioned Polk. And the thing about him, Dan, and we've talked about it, you've been at every practice, not the fastest, not the biggest, but just a good player, right? And I think ultimately he'll probably elevate into that top 3 spot at receiver, which right now they're going with KJ Osborne, Tyquan Thornton, and Pop Douglas. But it feels like he's really coming fast.
Thanks, Fred.
And that's that's what you want as a fan. I mean, this season, you hit on Polk. You hear about May's development. These are all positives. I mean, this is a team that's not going to win a lot of games, but, there is hope if they hit on these drafts. All right, Mike Reiss, thank you for indulging Dan Roach and keeping the pact that you television people keep between each other and giving him preferential treatment. Thank you, Mike Reiss. Everyone watch him on ESPN. Thanks for the time.
Awesome, guys. Have a great rest of the show.
Love you, Mike.
There you go. The great Mike Reiss and the very, very average Dan Roach. We will be back in just a moment. Dan, you have kids that are now succeeding and thriving in their adult lives. I have a parenting question for you coming up. I will have that for you in just a moment.
Let me call Pam.
It doesn't have anything to do with your kids, so relax.
Oh,
it has to do with mine.
Phew.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox lost not one, but 2 games to Toronto at Fenway Park yesterday. Toronto took the afternoon contest 4-1 in a completion of a game that was suspended in late June. And then they went ahead and won the nightcap 7-3. Jarren Duran homered in both games for the Red Sox, but they have now lost 5 in a row and 11 of 15. They're 5 games out of a playoff spot. They'll play Toronto again tonight. And the Sox have also reportedly shut down top prospect Marcelo Mayer for the rest of the season with a lumbar strain in his lower back. Today is cut down day. All NFL teams have to get down to 53 players by 4 o'clock. Patriots waived 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. Dallas has signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract. And yesterday was day 1 of the U.S. Open tennis tournament. American Coco Gauff won on day 1 for the women, and Novak Djokovic won his first-round match for the men. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Sparks Hockey. Sharpen your hockey skates at home with the Sparks Sharpener. Be ready for hockey season. Head to @sparkshockey.com and use promo code SportsHub at checkout for $50 off. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And Dan Roach is here. Be listening at 7:55 this morning for your chance to score a pair of tickets to the 28th Annual Comics Come Home Saturday, November 2nd at the Garden. Don't miss Dennis Leary, Bill Burr, Robert Kelly, a guy named Ronnie something, Sam Morrell, and more to be added. Tickets now on sale at Ticketmaster.com. Follow at Cam Neely FDN on Instagram and Facebook for the latest information. That's coming up at 7:55. One advantage of having a senior like Dan Roach in studio is that we can ask him for advice, John. I mean, you're his age too, but your second marriage was to a younger woman, I assume.
Yes.
And you have twin boys.
Yes.
But they are still not adults. Dan has two adults in that Dan had kids at an appropriate age. Unlike you.
I'm not quite David Letterman. Come on now.
Well, I mean, you ain't going to live to see grandkids. So Dan.
Neither will you. Wow.
Well, that would be
fired,
that would be my own hand. But so Dan, you have now when your kids turned 16, did they want to drive?
One did, one didn't.
Okay, because this is a new phenomenon. I remember I had chicken pox.
It was everything as a kid for us, right?
When I turned, and I was a nervous wreck, but when I turned 16, I was very sick my sophomore year of high school, and this was like the tail end of it. I had no immunity, so I caught everything at one point, and I had chicken pox, and I went to the DMV with chicken pox all over me, took the test, took the picture, and got my license that day.
Sure, the guy who drove you was happy.
Well, I didn't take the test that day. It wasn't an 80s film. I mean, you took the test. you took
back to school special.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't Blackboard Jungle. I mean, there was a process leading up to it. It was more just administrative at that point. But so my son he likes driving okay, but kids don't like activities that they're not already good at, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like a new skill is not what they enjoy. So, but my son is inquisitive about what's going on when driving, and he'll ask a lot of questions. And for instance, yesterday, now my son is an intelligent human being. The only reason I tell these stories is I think they're relatable because he's 16, he's going to his sophomore year. He does not listen or really pay attention. That's kind of what I'm going for here. It's not a lack of intelligence because he obviously knows the answer to these questions.
Because no other 16-year-old boys are like that either, right?
That's what I'm saying. Is that I tell these stories not to make fun of him.
My son was too.
Exactly. I'm telling these stories not to make fun of him, but to be relatable.
Yes, it's with love.
Yes, exactly. So he's interested in fairness to him, and it's good. He's interested in driving. So he goes, Dad, do you know how to change a tire? And I say, I have changed the tire in the past, but to be honest with you, I don't really know. I could do it now, but the jack is a pain in the ass. Like if you just have a manual jack. Yes. And he's like, what do you mean? And I explained to him, like, when they come out with AAA, they can jack your car up and get it off the ground really quick. And when you're doing it yourself, it's like you cut your hands up and it just sucks. I'd prefer not to do it. And he goes, do all cars have a spare tire, or is it just the ones like yours that have a tire on the back? And I'm like, they all have spare tires. They're in the trunk. They're under like a false bottom. And he goes, okay, well, where do you get the jack? And I go, well, the jack is with the spare tire. And he goes, do only cars with wheels have jacks?
There's a lot to unpack there, Fred.
He goes, are the only kind of cars that have jacks got wheels on them? And I look at him. I just look at him. And I go, what do you mean, cars with wheels? And he goes, cars with wheels. Are they the only ones that have jacks? What do you think about what you just said? And he goes, oh, yeah. I see what you know what I meant, but all cars have wheels. That's what makes them a car, not a boat. Or
Jetsons flying.
Right. These are not. It's not a helicopter.
Right.
They're cars. They ride on wheels.
Awesome.
But what he meant, obviously, I see now, because he's getting old enough, I don't want to screw with him, but like he obviously meant the only cars with spare tires. And what would he know about spare tires? Like, so, I mean, that's,
Right.
I like answering his questions, but this is the amount he thinks with me. The question is, do only cars with wheels have jacks? As opposed to the cars that are sliding down the road.
You see, son?
Yeah. Joe, go ahead, sir. Everyone loves Joe.
Hey, Fred, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You are going to scare your son one day because he's going to look in the back of his car and he's going to notice that there's not a spare there. There's an inflator kit instead.
Ooh, I did not know this. Now you're educating me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm a technician for Toyota, and I've called quite a few times. Hey, Wallach, what's going on? Hashtag way back Wallach Wednesdays. Let's do it.
What's up?
So basically, a jack's not that bad. You don't cut your hands up, Fred. What are you talking
It's
about?
a pain in the ass for me. A manual jack is a pain in the ass. I don't think that's me being a pussy. I think that's
it's not.
legitimate. But they slide out. They slide out, and it cuts your hand up. That doesn't happen. You're too inside. You've been in the game too long. You don't appreciate the common man. Go ahead.
I do because I've had to do it myself plenty of times. And no, I get it. You got to get the jack right under the pinch weld, or it doesn't sit right. Yeah, right. I get that.
I'm with
I get
you
all
on this
that.
one,
but,
Fred.
Yeah, but the hardest part for him is actually going to be the removing of the lug nuts, because the lug nuts are put on by impact guns here at the dealership. So he needs to have a little bit of strength. Yeah. Which I assume he does. I hear he's a pretty tall kid. So
he's 6'3". He's begun to lift weights. I don't doubt his ability to get the nuts out, but I do challenge his ability to figure this whole system out. That idea of him recognizing the problem and executing the plan to solve the problem is a bit of an issue. I think you got that right, Joe. Well, thank you.
I'm with you, Fred. I have a hard time approaching the lug nuts and all that kind of stuff and putting it exactly in the right spot to lift the car.
If this is in only me, I can only be honest with you. I find it to be very difficult.
I'm with you.
If you as individuals don't, you're far better men than I.
I call AAA.
I'm not going to. Well,
yes.
Yeah, I haven't not
what
called.
Happens. No matter what happens. Even if I'm putting the license plate on like you and Hardy. You know what I mean?
No, well, Hardy's got zip ties in the truck. He's got a pickup truck
Hardy's
for
a
no
doer,
reason.
Man.
He's got a pickup truck where he doesn't even have the bed. He has the bed covered the whole time. But listen, let him do
his pickup truck has never been on a dirt road before.
I know, it's really something. He has.
If you open up the back, I bet soccer balls would fall out.
No, no. It's set up for his golf clubs and golf shoes.
Yes,
no, it is. I mean that you
sure.
It's very angry.
Believe me, I've seen it. Oh, he would not like this conversation. Car number 10 right now to the Sports Hub contest. He's angry. You think I'm angry? Oh, no. John, you'll say it.
Yeah.
Hardy's a far more angry person than I am.
I would agree with that.
100%.
No. And if he was sitting here, I'd say it to his face.
I know you would.
It would be something. Now, he wouldn't be angry that we were saying this.
No.
He would wear that tag with pride.
He claims I'm angry. He claims I am.
Because he's covering up his own.
No, because he was an idiot, and I asked him not to be.
Well, you can't do that to everyone.
If you're golfing, Fred, and you're playing really well, and someone says to you, hey, we were playing in a scramble format. Do you want to know what you got on that last 9 going in? And I'm like, no. I know that I'm playing well, and I want to continue to play well. And he said it anyway.
He didn't want you to play well.
Yes, thank you.
That's not right.
He was trying to put the mojo on
and he did. And he put a whammy on me. I shot 39 on the front and like 52 on the back.
39?
That's really sad.
At the country club. How about that?
No way.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I know.
The country club?
I know how to loop that.
Country club.
Oh, don't even challenge it. I got an insider now. I've looped that thing a few times. I played that more than Woodland this year.
Wait,
so don't try
did you start at 39 on the front 9 at the country club?
I haven't kept score playing golf in 3 years. Caller number 10 right now at the Sports Hub contest line, but no, I would assume no. Caller number 10 right now at the Sports Hub contest line 617-931-0985 will score a pair of tickets to the 20th annual Comics Come Home Saturday, November 2nd at the Garden. Dennis Leary, Bill Burr, Robert Kelly, Sam Morrell, and more to be added. Tickets now on sale at Ticketmaster.com and follow Cam Neely FD on Instagram. and Facebook for the latest information. Caller number 10 wins now, 617-931-0985. I'm sorry, everyone, I'm running late, but I do have to tease this because if I don't, it won't happen. It's the last one. It's the last one of the year. The last shoot in the breeze.
Oh.
Unless something terrible happens to Hardy, this is the last shoot in the breeze. It's summer. It's Labor Day week. Not a lot of people are working. 617-779-0985. I do this for Dan. This is the radio front porch. Pour yourself a nice lemonade.
Yeah.
And sit back and just shoot
I
the
like
breeze.
Mayberry sitting on the front porch.
Is it the easiest break in the history of radio?
Yeah.
It is. But there's imaging for it, so it counts. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
covered.
Back in the hole. He's in trouble. A sack.
It's an all-new season for the Pats, and you'll hear it all right here. 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Big problems for the Red Sox, who lost 2 more games at Fenway Park yesterday and last night.
Springer gets a ball high in the air to deep left field, and this one is going to be long gone. Right on out of here, way over the monster. And the Blue Jays have the first run of the ball game.
That's Blue Jays television. George Springer hit a pair of home runs across a pair of Blue Jays wins. First, it was a completion of a suspended game from June, which wound up being a 4-1 Sox loss. And then Toronto followed that up with a win 7-3. Sox catcher Danny Jansen started for the Jays in June. He finished Game 1 with the Red Sox yesterday, making him the first major leaguer ever to play for both teams in the same game. Sox are now 5 games out of a playoff spot. They play Toronto again tonight. Top minor leaguer Marcelo Meyer now out for the season thanks to a lumbar strain in his lower back. Today is cut-down day for all NFL teams. Everyone has to be down to 53 players by 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Patriots waived 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. Dallas signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract yesterday, and Tennessee has traded quarterback Malik Willis to Green Bay for a 7th-round draft pick. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing, the official roofing partner of the Boston Celtics. Mention 98.5 the Sports Hub and get 10% off your new roof. Visit eastcoastmetalroofing.com. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 the Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
Someone's excited. So I will say it, since Dan played this, we're Toucher.
I am excited about this. Yeah,
I know I said that. That's why you played that. A lot of people are. It's
okay.
Toucher and Hardy. Why are we playing Oasis? Well, the announcement has been made. The brothers Gallagher have reunited. It is official. And they've announced a 2025 reunion tour in the UK and Ireland, which means they probably won't play in the United States.
No.
There's no way.
You see the picture that was going around yesterday of the dates that are already set?
Yeah, they'll probably break up before that anyway.
Right? Yeah.
By the way, they're playing
Bring a
Wembley.
pencil.
We were discussing what they would play in England, and I was describing to the audience what a big deal this is in England. Like it's huge. So Wembley Stadium is basically Foxborough, right? Gillette. They're playing the 25th and 26th of July, the 2nd and the 3rd of August. They're playing it 4 times. They're playing Gillette Stadium 4 times.
Because they're playing Wembley Stadium 4 times.
What I'm saying is the equivalent of Gillette Stadium
absolutely.
4 times.
Yeah.
And going to Manchester, where they're from, and they'll probably do 7 shows there.
New Hampshire?
Oh, if they could play Manchester for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
I was telling Lockhart, he's like, why is this such a big deal? And it's unless you've look, I'm not a world traveler, but unless you've been to England, it's very hard to understand how much they care about white rock acts. like white British rock acts. Like I built Block Party at a black singer.
Coldplay.
Think of like the Stone Roses. All those Manchester bands. Yeah, this is like the Smiths getting back together.
Yes.
Like this is, but it's not Oasis proper, right? It's just the brothers.
So apparently it's just the brothers. They don't want any of the other original members to be with them on tour, like Bonehead and a couple of the other guys that were in the band. And Noel Gallagher has a band called the High Flying Birds. Apparently they're going to be the touring band with Liam Gallagher as Oasis.
How many brothers? 2?
There's 2. Wait, that didn't make sense.
So Noel Gallagher, I just saw him. He tours now with a group called the High Flying Birds.
Right.
They're going to be the backing band with just Noel and Liam. None of the original Oasis members have been invited on the tour next year.
And that's funny because Liam was playing with the guitar player you just said.
He's been playing with other members of Oasis on tour.
You know what they do?
And the guitarist from the Stone Roses.
They don't want to give him any money.
Absolutely. See, there you go.
And they're figuring no one cares.
They own the name, so they're like, yeah.
And they're figuring it's not going to affect them. Boy, what they're dicks, yeah. Like
Absolutely. Yes.
Like you would think you would have some affinity with the guys you came up with, and it's not like a situation like the brothers not getting together because those are like equals, and I can understand, believe me, I can understand not wanting to work with that particular person again.
Did they get along, the brothers?
No,
Not really, no.
not at all. No, that's why it's such a big deal. Like they weren't talking, like, and they would dismiss any notion because every time anyone talked to them, they would have to ask, "Or you were an idiot," about them getting back together, and they would dismiss that notion completely. But so that's a big deal. But you would think that the guys that you toured with and you came up with as a collective, you would at least think fondly of. You would think like you'd want to take care of them a little bit.
If you're supposedly burying that hatchet with your brother and saying, let's relive the good
get
times,
everybody together.
Why isn't the rest of the band included?
I mean, it's such a money grab.
How
at
big
that
were
point.
they when they're 15 years ago, right?
In England?
Yeah.
Come on, Dan.
I mean,
I don't know.
they were
Sorry.
Taylor
Seriously?
Swift. They were like Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift
That
in the
big?
United States. Oh yeah, right? I don't think that's a crazy comparison.
It will reach that epic, proportions in the UK next summer.
I mean, they're playing. How far is Manchester from London?
A couple hundred miles. It's not like New
All right,
York to Boston.
so they're
but-
playing like 8 arena shows within 100 miles of
No,
each other.
stadium shows.
Stadium shows within 100 miles.
The
of each
picture
other.
I saw had 5 shows at Wembley.
Yeah, 5 shows at
But
Wembley.
it also, believe it or not, at the bottom had a show at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah, that was the thing that got released that wasn't official.
That was a whoopsie.
But they're going to play Gillette Stadium
September 2nd.
If they're playing 5 shows at Wembley, they're going to end up playing the stadiums here. They're not. We had pontificated that they were going to play
Fenway,
but no, they're going to play Gillette.
When do they start?
July 4th.
Next year?
2025, yeah.
Yeah, so just enough time, as Mike said, to start hating each other again. And not do this.
I know, 3 shows in, we're done.
All right, this is very, 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 very upsetting. But I want to play.
Shooting the breeze, shooting the breeze, shooting the breeze. Shooting the breeze.
Everyone asks me, when are you going to do Shooting the Breeze again? I love Shooting the Breeze. Dan Roach is here. He's in a walking club that meets every morning.
Oh, yeah.
They walk and talk about the day's issues.
What time do you guys meet up in the morning?
Usually 7. If during training camp, is 6 a.m.
How big was the group when it started?
It was just 2 guys for years were walking. And
Yeah.
Then I joined them. And
So
now it's expanded.
a devil's three-way?
Now it's expanded to like 6.
Okay, and then does it...
Dave and Jerry
You
were the
promise
2
you won't get
original
mad?
members.
You promise it won't get mad?
No.
Okay. Does the number get smaller before it gets bigger? For instance, when I hear a walking club, I think not everyone in this walking club is going to come back for the next season. Like a walking club doesn't.
No, we walk at a good pace, Fred.
No, I'm sure you do. Are you afraid that you're going to lose some on the way? Do you stay with the wounded, or do you march on?
Yes.
Do you have team jackets that you wear?
No, we don't have team
No?
jackets.
All right, so
That's a good idea,
this is a walking club, and it meets how
With,
often?
Dave and Jerry, and then Mitch, Joel, and Art. And then
Average age?
myself.
Average age.
Average age is they're probably 3 or 4 years older than me. So average age is probably, I don't know.
You seem like the kind of guy that would really like to retire. Like that you would. I know you love your job.
Pam told me I can't too, so financially. Okay?
That's great. That's the kind of relationship everyone should strive for. It's just being
Yes.
told what to do as an adult.
Yeah, it works well for me.
And you're comfortable with that.
Yes.
And you're being dead serious. Like she tells you what to do.
Yes.
And you're comfortable with that.
Yeah. Because she does what I like. She knows what I like to do.
Okay. So she orders you around basically.
Yeah.
And you're comfortable with that.
Sure.
It doesn't feel
Because she lets
masculating
me
at
do
all.
what I know. Because let me do what I do.
Okay. Which is what?
Live life and watch sports and
driving to Foxborough from the North Shore every day.
I mean, she has the patience of a saint. She lets you go into a walking club at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well,
My
she's
God.
already working out, so
Yeah,
I have to do something.
Most people would really frown upon that. She really allows you to sow your wild oats. All right, 617-779-0985. Let's go to Mike. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, boys. So, Fred, I'll preface this by saying I'm not a fan of the band either, but did you hear the interview on Marin with Trey Anastasio from Fish? I think you'd really like it. It was an incredibly interesting interview, made me respect him and the band more. Tried listening to it again after. I still think they kind of suck, but it's worth listening to for an interview. A lot of recovery talk. He's got an interesting past. I highly recommend it because I know you like Marin.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll say a couple of things. Is that because I dislike Fish, I hate Fish. Is not. I would still probably read a book about Anastasio, especially. Listen, if it's a recovery memoir, I'm all in. Because there's a lot of good stuff in those things of depravity. But I got two questions for you because I haven't listened to Marin in a long time. Did Marin insert himself into the conversation and insist on talking about gear?
No, I mean, well, it got a little nerdy towards the end because they started talking about a specific guitar and stuff like that. But that's just kind of near the end. The gist of it is recovery talk and Trey's life and his upbringing and whatnot. It's very interesting. It's not geary nerdy talk. Yeah.
Okay, I will listen to it because I was getting aggravated with Mark Maron because it seemed like he was enjoying his. I don't begrudge him capitalizing on it, but it became very inside actor talk. Like he was involved with it, but I didn't care for. But I will listen to that today, Mike. I'll listen to that in my many hours I'll have while I'm sitting around pulling my pud by myself at my 82-year-old parents' house in Knoxville. Yeah, it's not good. I don't understand it. Ben, go ahead, Ben. What's up?
Ready, baby.
Benjamin.
How are you?
What's going on, my friend?
Shout out to the Twitch Nation. I was in Pigeon Forge last week, Fred. I was in Pigeon Forge.
What were you doing in Pigeon Forge?
Observing what I never want to turn out to be.
Yes, not seeing minorities, I would assume.
Well, a lot of that is Trump Nation, let me tell you. Two questions about the walking club of Mr. Dan Roach there.
Yes.
One, would you be opposed to having Nick, who was nearly dead, found in his own feces one time, join you for an episode a week and get some audio in? Two, what do you do with the shoes after they're done walking?
Yes, that's a very good question. There is a market for senior citizen shoes. Now, Dan,
he says, how do you stay so tan? This kid's asking me.
Shooting the breeze.
Dan,
I'd welcome Nick.
Okay, I'm not kidding.
You'd be way too fast.
Yeah, Nick would never keep up with you.
Really?
Nick can. I'm trying to be patient with people. I'm trying to not lose my temper. I'm trying to pause before I react. I can't help myself. His inability to walk at a normal human pace drives me effing insane. Like when he comes in here, that room is probably 20 feet from here.
We have theme music that plays while we wait for him to arrive.
And then it's because he has to come in here. That's something that needs to be done now. And and it's not late. He's like, his body can't move because it's all ass and little legs. It's really aggravating.
It's like they're working against each other.
Exactly. He's not made right. He's like, there's something wrong with him. So I suppose I'm being an ableist, which is a term I learned this summer.
Maybe we can outfit him. Maybe that'll change the way he walks. Maybe his gait will become better if we get him a good outfit. Good pair of walking shoes, Fred.
You take him into one of those marathon stores and get him on a walking thing, they're going to start calling MIT. He's going to end up with space legs on him. They're going to have to do some kind of elongation procedure. All right, Tony, go ahead.
Freddie, I can't even comment on that walking club or else you're going to drop my call immediately. But so interesting that Dan's on today. I will be hanging out with some 82-year-olds on a Disney cruise coming up in a few weeks. Any redeeming qualities for this cruise?
Yeah, I mean, Castaway Key is the best.
Oh, screw you.
What?
You don't think that. You don't think that Castaway Key is great. Why?
Because it's your own little private island.
But it's Castaway Key is a island in the Bahamas that Disney owns.
Oh, is that the one with the Jimmy Buffett thing? The Jimmy Buffett restaurant?
That's a different thing. No, that's Jimmy Buffett.
No, John.
No, this is a.
Sorry, Jesus.
There's nothing wrong with Castaway Key, but instead of going to a island with its own personality and its own local flavor, Disney has bought it and co-opted it, and everything is 3 times the price, and it's all just Disney crap. All right. But we were going to have Crash on today to be with you.
Yeah, I heard him.
Because Crash is going to start doing Ask Crash again for us, and Crash was going to be on with you just to, like, BS about Disney and stuff. But guess where Crash is?
Disney?
He's in Disney
Disney
for his birthday party.
Splashing good times.
And he said that he's been getting up at 6 a.m. shaking, and then having it. But this is why it's funny, because he says he's getting up at 6 a.m. shaking, and then like curing that, and then he's like, I don't know if I should come on the show. But what's funny is that if he was like in New Orleans, I'd be like, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to me that he goes and like parties at Disney, like he goes and like just gets annihilated at Disney.
At Epcot, right?
Yeah, but I mean it's fascinating.
It's a great place to walk too in the morning, Fred, at 6 a.m. Around the boardwalk with the Epcot ball right there, and then the sun coming up. Beauty.
Mm.
That's where I stayed the last time I was there.
Yeah, isn't that a nice area?
It is.
How much
fantastic.
will you leave having spent at Disney all in? Flights, hotel, everything.
It just depends on how long we're staying, where we're staying.
A week at
Disney.
Disney.
A week at Disney.
Dan.
I don't know, like $3 or $4 grand, right?
For how many people?
It depends on who's going and who can go with us.
Dan, for a family of 4, how much are you in on a
More
week?
than $4,000 if it's a family of 4.
$5 grand.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think it's more.
I think it's around
the
10
hotel
grand.
alone for a week for 4 people.
I'm not challenging. I mean,
Well, if you spot it right, though, you got to look and keep looking and get it, and then bam.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it. You can get it done.
Yeah, that's just like everyone. I flew first class to London for $200. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
It's not
Well, it's funny because I looked and the cheapest I could find was $1,500. What? Who were we just talking? Was it here that I was talking to someone who got? No, someone I know is flying to Greece, and they injured themselves, so their brother bought them a first class ticket. Guess how much the first class ticket to Greece was? Does anyone guess? Guess.
$6,000.
Guess.
I went at 5.
$12,000.
Hey,
whoa,
and,
whoa!
And I guarantee you, when she gets there, that someone someone she talks to will be like, "Oh yeah, I got the reason we're here is I found a ticket for like $300." That happens on every vacation I'm on. No, you didn't. And why? And I don't know you. Why are you downplaying money?
I'd have to ask Pam.
Why? No, not you. I'm talking about the people on vacation. Yeah, go ask Pam. I like how you like to be mothered. You sicko. Do you ever have her wipe your bottom? They're baby boy being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's Saturdays.
You like that? All right.
That's Saturday night.
All right. I don't.
Yeah, I
even
heard
know
you guys
what
talk.
it's
I
called.
could live at Disney.
No, you think so?
I think, yeah, I'd have to get off base for once in a while, but
You'd have to leave the. You'd have
off
to leave
base.
Disney.
Yes.
You'd have to leave Disney. That's a bold statement. You would leave the environment that you're in. That's, way to go. How? What's around there? I don't know. Will the guards let you out?
Right.
It's like you act like you're in Israel, like trying to cross over into Palestine. Paul, go ahead.
Hey, tickets alone just to go for the family of 4, if you're going to do all the parks even without a park hopper, that's going to be like $2,400. I go every year with my kids. It's going to be our 27th trip, and we're going in November. It's like $7-8 grand for a family of 4.
Right, but we don't do
for
it.
like
we don't do
5-6
every
days.
park every day. You know what I mean? Like some.
But
some
he's
days we'll
saying,
skip.
Paul. But
But
you're
I get
saying
it what you're
that's
saying, though.
That's not even for a park hopper pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree. And by the way, I'm not going to lie to you how much I've paid on vacations, but Disney, my parents know someone who had a timeshare at some place around there. So I've never even stayed
That's
on
one thing
Disney
I would
property.
never do.
Well, you're not. Well, since
You have to stay on
since
property
I
if
hear
you go to
ads,
Disney, Fred.
Since I hear ads for people who buy you out of your your timeshares,
That's overnight. That's every
Big Lou.
5 minutes.
Big Lou, I'm
Big
guessing.
Lou.
I'm guessing it's
Big
not the
Lou.
best investment, since there is an industry to get you out of it.
Big Lou's. You got a timeshare too.
There's no one that's like, you know what I'm going to do is my business is to buy you out of your Apple stock. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if something's a bad enough idea that there's a guy whose entire business is getting you out of it, I'm guessing that's not the best thing to chuck money into.
Right.
But I'm not going to I mean, I'd stay on
All right,
property.
so I don't know how much we spend. That's all. I don't know.
I think these timeshares are technically on property. I think whatever there are enough. Like you can
Near
take
it?
they have a bus that runs from it. So whatever. It's not in Kissimmee, that hellhole. Kissimmee's like Compton. Like it's like a bomb went off.
I might be staying in Kissimmee next March
Why? I'm not joking. It's awful. You're in danger there.
My daughter and her softball team are going down there.
Go watch Spring Breakers. Not Spring Breakers. The movie with Willem Dafoe about the motel in Kissimmee.
Florida Project?
Florida Project. Go watch the Florida Project. It's a real heaven on earth Kissimmee. That's one place I actually feel bad for people. Like if you're a kid and your parents are like, I'm taking you to Disney World, but they're really taking you to Kissimmee. It's like when my grandmother said, I'm taking you to Disney World and took me to Circus World. And there's a bit of a difference. One is Anheuser-Busch owned pretend place, and the other one is Disney World. All right.
We'll probably stay on property.
All right, I'll take one more just to get us to 5, and then we're going to have to do short breaks. But whatever. I'm on vacation, and then it's Labor Day. Tim, go ahead.
Hey, Fred. I would be remiss to miss this last Shooting the Breeze of the season, so here's some Arnold Palmer's for everybody, some sugar water for Warwick.
Thank you.
I had 2 questions for Dan Roach, if I could. First would be his role in this walking gang. Is he like more of an enforcer, Sergeant at Arms type? Is he the young buck of the group? And 2, my second question would be for Dan as well, because he's the celebrity here today. Dan, if you could do a porch interview with somebody, would it be a famous baseball player or your favorite Disney writer?
Do you have a favorite Disney writer? Are you that deep into the culture?
No.
Okay.
So it would be a baseball player.
Right.
Who?
Ted Williams. You know what I mean? I would just love to pick his brain about hitting.
Well, you can. You can pick his brain, literally.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
right.
just go with his...
Sadly.
His kid. That's what you want your kids to do, too, is to fight over your brain.
Not really. You don't want another me.
Well, that's what it's in my will. I say the two of you must, not only do I demand you freeze my brain, I want you to actively, legally fight over it for the rest of your lives. No, yeah, do whatever you want to the brain, as long as you're fighting. That's what my last wish is. Zoe and Milo, I just want to make sure it's contentious.
Your legacy.
Your entire life, right.
Nice.
I want you to fight over this brain.
And my role is I'm the texter that gets everybody on the same page. What time are we going tomorrow? I know it's training camps. Anyone going at 6? Would you like to go at 7, 7:30 on Sundays because we go further because they'll get a little sleep in. So it differs. It differs.
You unite people, Dan. You unite people.
And the guy, we walk through the same cemetery every single day. We walk through the same cemetery, and the guy who runs the cemetery I went to high school with, he used to be a really good pitcher on the high school team. Mark Atwood.
Do you guys ever lay on the plots
I was
that you
just going to
fought?
say, interesting you would walk through a cemetery with the walking club.
Yeah, do you ever just lay on the plot to see how it's going to be?
No, Fred, come on.
I know why you walk through the cemeteries, to normalize yourself with for where you guys are all going to be very soon.
Jay Leno's parents are there. Michael Chiklis' parents are there.
Thank you,
See
Dan.
that as you walk through?
Real celebrity row.
Michael Chiklis' parents. My God, that's awesome.
How do you walk through the crowds?
Are there ropes? Are they roped off?
Are you guys making fun of me?
We're so late. Okay, we got to go. Thank you for everyone playing Shooting the Breeze. We got a break. We'll be right back. what? It's very exciting. The Patriots season is starting. We've had our talks on if Drake May is going to start. Dan fought back on Jacoby Brissett starting.
I didn't fight back.
But you were arguing, and then ultimately you landed on that he should, which is interesting.
I think you got to play out the factors, right? I think there's got to be going through Gerard Mayo's mind about what he's seen. We've all seen it, and we've seen it at practice too. After that second preseason game where he looked like he was starting to get it, he got it. And I think if you're Mayo, he looks like he's getting better and better quickly, and much quicker than maybe the coaching staff and the developmental plan thought. So it's got to be in the back of his mind, like, this kid's going to be really, really good. And Fred, you're looking to, if you're a player, think about the only thing that matters is trying to win, right? And I know what you're saying with Mayo and the rest of the organization. It's a plan, and I agree with the plan. It's got to be a 2-year plan where you go get a number one tackle and you need a number one wide out. But just the enticement of what we're seeing in other places with Caleb Williams and with Jaden Daniels, you got to be sitting there saying, all right, those two are starting. Bo Nix is starting. Then maybe this kid should start and get going here on the Drake May era. So it's got to be within it. But then I think you go back and you look at the offensive line and what they're going through, that it just makes common sense, sends you back to having Jacoby Brissett starting.
Well, I could also counter Caleb Williams has 3 good to great receivers. They have a team that's put together.
It's interesting you say that,
Bo Nix
Fred.
is 37 years old.
I know, but Caleb Williams, according to Pro Football Focus, is what I used, has the 11th best offensive line ranked coming into the season and the 4th best wide receiver group, right? With Roma Dunze and DJ Moore and company, they're going to be good. Jaden Daniels, though, he's an interesting one. 27th ranked Washington Redskins offensive line and the 20th ranked receiver core. But they say Daniels can do everything and has that ability, so we'll see.
We'll see how it's ironic that Daniels is with the old Redskins organization.
Oh, sorry, Commanders.
No, well, you have to say, for what I'm saying, I have to say old Redskins organization because I just bask in the racism of it. I refuse to call it anything else.
Yeah.
Because, I insist that we do this because it means a lot to me. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying Redskins because of RG3 and him and Daniels, undersized, fast, super athletes. And we all watched, I'm sure you all, and I watched live, Shanahan just let that kid get blown up and we just watched his body get destroyed. And it's just interesting that Jaden Daniels is out there. They made that decision quickly. They knew that he was going to do it. But that's all going on. And so when you're talking about this team and Dan's insistence that the players just want to win and look at us, how is Mayo going to face them? When I say, who on this team has any room to bitch about anything? I guess Andrews. But if your center's not on board, I don't know how you handle the ship. But the ESPN has put out their top 100 NFL players. Have you seen this?
I have.
Oh, you have. Have you, Dan?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so Dan, you can play. How many New England Patriots? There's 32 teams in the NFL. There are 100 spots available. How many New England Patriots are on this list?
None.
That is correct. And that is a very easy question that you just answered. If you include people who have been on the Patriots, how many people are on this list?
4?
I have 1.
I have 1.
Matthew Judon is 86th.
Yeah. Okay. Judon was the best player on the Patriots last year, or has been the best player on the Patriots for the last 3 or 4 years. He is 86th at the age of 32, coming off major surgery.
Yes.
That should give you an idea of what the rest of the country or talent evaluators think about the Patriots roster at the moment.
And now that, I understand it's a meaningless exercise and that it's just to get clicks, and I understand all of that, but they have where they ranked all these players last year, and you can see a bunch of these second-year players, like Laporta's of the world and stuff like that weren't ranked, that now are, real stars. Because these are, however they're ranked is inconsequential. That they're on the list means that they're basically a star. Right? And so you look at a team like the Lions, who've got Penei Sewell, and, they got Laporta, and They got
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. They got all these guys that they drafted on the list. Again, you talked about how you like Jalen Polk, the receiver they took in the second round, and how you think that he might be their best player on offense. These are the good news things. These are the things, because you see that when you refuse to draft well, that this is what happens, and you're starting from the bottom. So if May hits, you're fine no matter what.
Right.
But if May and Polk hit, well, then now we're rolling, and you go into next offseason, you hit that draft, and you're contending 2 seasons from now. Then you can sprinkle in a couple free agents. And as I said before, Buffalo looks like they're descending. The Jets are dependent on a 41-year-old quarterback. If he plays this year, then I don't even know if he's going to play next year. So conceivably that team's – and listen, they're not getting any younger. They hit a few drafts, and they didn't have the quarterback, and now they're – I don't know how many of these guys are going to be able to retain. Hall and Gardner are going into their second years of contracts at the same time. So who knows? So this is a division that, you'll be challenging for the division if you hit a couple drafts in a row. That's the way the NFL is. And that's enough. I know if you're 35 or under that you've never experienced this, but it's enough. If they've hit this last draft, that they hit it, and, people make fun of the draft, but this is how you win. I mean, it really is. It's how you win in the NFL. There's no shortcut to it.
They tried the shortcut. They tried.
I tried to tell you the whole time.
You did. I will give you credit.
Amon St. Brown, by the way, is also a guy they drafted late.
Yes.
That's the 25th best player on the Lions. I'm just giving them as an example. Go ahead.
No, I will give you credit.
Yeah,
when they blew out the budget and signed all these guys, and then none of them were around after about 18 months except for Judon. He kind of got the idea. All that money for Aguilar. I mean, it was crazy.
And let's look at the Texans. I mean, they won a draft. They got Anderson and Stroud, and I know you're not going to get Stroud's like an outlier. We'll see how Stroud is this year. Everyone praises him.
I know,
so maybe he'll be great.
He's the interesting one, right?
Yeah, I mean,
because he's the outlier.
I haven't heard a quarterback praise like Stroud.
Yeah.
When was the last time you heard a second-year quarterback praise like this? I'm sure it's happened, but I can't recall. People are saying like he's just perfect. Like he's like this perfect quarterback. He's very into the Bible too, Dan. I think you would like that about him. Biblical verses all over the place. You into the Bible, Dan? You seem kind of secular.
Yeah.
You go to church?
No, I haven't gone in a while. I have reasons, but yeah. But I'm still into, I'm Catholic.
Are they serious reasons?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it a crisis of conscience or something?
No, there's issues. We'll talk about it.
Okay. I don't want to push you.
Yeah, don't open that can, Fred.
Sometimes I think, Dan.
Sometimes you think I'm serious, sometimes you don't.
I find this incredible. It's amazing. Dan is all positive day. Dan is Mr. Sunshine. He comes in at 5 a.m. and he's happy. And whenever he sits in here, Fred, you always, at least twice a show, manage to touch the third rail with him. It's amazing to me that only you have this power.
In my mind,
wow.
In my mind, they're just normal questions.
I know, but you saw what just happened.
Because it happened organically. C.J. Stroud's super into the Bible. So, I cut a little thing, you must like that about him.
You weren't being overly aggressive, but it's amazing that you can do that.
And just, if you learn about yourself and you learn from others primarily through conversation. So I just say,
sure.
so do you go to church? He goes, yeah, but there's reasons why I'm not going now. There's nothing I did there. That's just Dan giving us some craziness.
It's a unique skill that you have.
Well,
because no one else has been able to solve the Rubik's Cube for all these years except for you.
It's called showing interest in someone. That's all it is. Asking questions out of real curiosity.
No, but
I'm not even trying to bust his balls.
No, you're not the first person to ask him questions. People have asked Dan questions over these 30 or 40 years, but somehow you always figure out a way, intentional or not, to get to those type of questions where Dan just completely shuts down.
I like Dan a lot. I'm interested in his life.
We got a break.
I'm more comfortable talking on the air than off the air, especially with men. I'm realizing it. I don't trust men.
We'll be right back.
I don't trust them. I don't know what happened to me. I blame my father. Well, I'll get into it with him this week.
How about 10 o'clock, Fred? You and I?
Not you, my dad, dumbass. Stop, narcissist. Your relationship, and you and I are fine. Maybe I'll take this weekend to really dig into my relationship with my father.
Good luck with that.
You got a lot of time.
Yeah, I got nothing but time. I'm starting to realize this is going to be a real
You're going to park
scene.
that jet ski out in the middle of the lake and no one will ever see you again.
I haven't been there alone, maybe ever.
Oh, you know what? Dan makes a good point. You still got the paddleboard?
I got everything. Dude.
All right, paddleboard your way off the dock. You're
probably
fine.
got $40,000 worth of garbage on that.
All right, from 8 to 8:45, I paddleboard.
My parents
paddleboard the piece.
My parents have been there for 23 years. I bet you I have $50,000 worth of the stuff loaded into that house.
Now's the time to use it, right?
Yeah. All right. We'll be back, which is not, by the way, swinging it around. I mean, 23 years with inflation.
Sure.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox got swept in a doubleheader yesterday at Fenway Park by Toronto, 4-1 in the early game and 7-3 last night. George Springer, 2 home runs, including a 3-run shot in the second game for the winners. Jarren Duran, a good game or a good afternoon and evening for the Red Sox. He homered in both games, but the Red Sox have lost 5 straight. They're 5 games out of a playoff spot with a little more than 4 weeks to go in the regular season. They play Toronto again tonight. Top Sox minor leaguer Marcelo Meyer, done for the season thanks to a lumbar strain in his lower back. Today's cutdown day for all NFL teams. Patriots and everyone else have to get down to 53 players by 4 o'clock this afternoon. Patriots waived 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. Dallas made the biggest splash of the day. They signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Boston Bone and Joint Institute. For top orthopedic care, BBJI has New England's best. Visit their skilled physicians in Boston, Dedham, Waltham, Westboro, and Woburn. Book your appointment online at bbji.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9 o'clock.
We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel.
All right, so I think it's about eight to 10 grand.
Yeah, to go to Disney for
My
4
nephew
people.
is kind of running the cost analysis for me and telling me what we usually spend.
I take it he wasn't listening. He's just...
No, he's listening.
Oh.
He's down in Florida.
Oh, is he listening on the 98.5? Or is he watching
which
us
was
on
out
YouTube?
The other day. It pissed me off when I was in D.C.
It wasn't working? That's strange.
Yeah.
Usually
Went to listen
everything.
Friday, and I was like,
usually everything's ticking like a
disagree with
clock.
that. It was something on your end. Well, clearly not something
Yeah,
here.
I mean, especially in the mornings, they usually have everything buttoned up pretty good.
But if you tune in at about 10:20 across all the platforms, runs
Dan, would you care to wager? I don't know for a fact, but would you care to, if you were a betting man, what would you put your money on the reason that technical issues are generally resolved around 10 a.m.? What would you be your thought on that?
Zoe?
Yeah, during Beetle and Zoe.
They get in at 10?
Yeah, because it's not usually local problems. They're usually network problems.
Climb the ladder?
Yeah, and so I think those people, they crack their knuckles. They hear, they pick up their phone at like 8:30 and they go, ooh, all the stations are down.
We'll just mosey on in a little.
Maybe I won't stop.
I gotta go to a diner. I'm a little hungry for some pancakes.
Yeah, this is not like a waitress sit-down meal I'm going to be having. This is more of a pick it up at the counter. And then, sure enough, come 10:10.
Glad I brought this up.
10:10, it's all fixed. But what's also interesting in the company is that there are no human beings on outside of the hours of 6 to 10 in the morning. So it's a bit of a scale here. I don't understand what's going on. But but listen, we're all navigating through this new world.
Yes, sir.
But $8,000 to $10,000, that sounds about right. Family afford Disney World sounds like 10
We might
grand.
be on the lower side of that too, because
yeah, of course, because you're acting humble. But
because
and you're uncomfortable talking about money.
No, because we use different ways to cut costs and things like that.
But not enough, Dan, to make it.
How do you know? You don't know.
Because there aren't tricks to Disney World that only you know.
Yes, there are.
And how much do they save you? You have tricks that save you 50%.
I said probably on the lower end. So instead of 10-8.
So what's 2,000 out of 10,000? That's 20%. So you know how to save 20% at Disney? No, you don't. That's what I'm getting at. With the people that fly,
you want to go?
Like fight or go to Disney with you?
You knew it wasn't
with
fight.
Me?
He wants to take you on the ride.
I don't. No, I don't. I mean, listen. If
that'd be great if
you were having like a second marriage or something and you invited me, I'd go to Disney World. But I'm not going to go to Disney World for fun. My kids didn't like Disney World. I don't have a problem with Disney World. Look, Crash is one of my best friends. Yeah. He's at Disney right now with another dude. I don't judge it. I mean, they're friends. He's with Fat Kid. His attaché.
I met him at the last show.
PHAT?
Yeah.
No, Fat. He's a big Fat Kid. But the Fat Kid was one of my interns. And now Fat Kid...
It's like Crash's valet. It's weird.
Yeah, like I flew into Atlanta one time. I don't know why I said that. But I was staying at a hotel, and I was like, hey, do you want to go out? And Crash is like, yeah, I'll pick you up at the hotel. And the car pulls up. Fat Kid's driving. And Crash is in the back with a cooler and this chick. And they're like, get in. He was like legitimately Fat Kid was his driver. And he's not paying Fat Kid. Fat Kid does this. But Fat Kid was this super religious kid from a small town in Georgia with very doting, like conservative parents. They're lovely people, but very active. He got married when he was like 21. He like super Christian-y stuff. He started interning for me. He got arrested. Things were different back then for bits he did on my show. Then he fell in with Crash. Oh, and he's long into marriages now. That marriage is gone. The relationship with the parents was severed at one point. I believe he's close to them again. But his allegiance, he almost like fell under Crash's spell. And Crash is now like he just like goes wherever. Like Crash goes to England, like Fat Kid's with him. Like Crash goes to Florida, Fat Kid's with him.
It's weird. It's very weird.
When I'm in Atlanta, like Fat Kid's always with Crash. Like he's driving or doing something, like going up and picking up stuff at the bar. It's crazy.
I only got a snippet of this when we were at the Wilbur.
Oh yeah, when he came to the Wilbur for the Christmas show.
Does Crash pay Fat Kid?
Really weird. No, it's just Crash would walk you had told me about the relationship and I wasn't sure what to expect, and we're backstage and Crash walked in. I haven't seen him in a decade. It was great, but Fat Kid was walking in front of him. it was weird. Like he's not a big guy, but he was like, metaphorically speaking, clearing the way for him. There weren't tons of people there, but Crash was behind Fat Kid. It was weird.
Yeah, like
the whole thing was strange.
It's like because all these like there was this Christian.
I don't think I could have anybody like that. Would you?
No, but I can tell you why it's going on is because it's the same reason that strippers, when I was in Atlanta, all would say when they were kids they vacationed to this one weird Christian themed amusement park that like only super like evangelical people know about. And I'll tell you, legit, say I talked to 100 strippers in my time there, like 8 or 9 of them had an upbringing of like this really evangelical thing. And I think that Fat Kid was stifled so much and then got married at such a young age and then got into radio when he saw like the lifestyle Crash was living and like
he wanted that.
He wanted that. And what's funny is that Crash wants that stability of a marriage. So it's like, rock stars want to be baseball players and baseball players want to be rock stars. Yeah. It's like this simpatico relationship where I think they both want what the other is chasing, if that makes any sense. Yeah. It's very fascinating. They're both lovely people. I love Crash, and Fat Kid's all right in my book.
Perfectly nice
I
guy.
feel a little guilty for ruining his life. But, he's no longer under my spell. That's long ago. Boy, I used to yell at that kid. I used to call his parents on the air and yell at them for raising him wrong.
He's landed well,
right. So you're kind of like Nick.
So the guy that opened up that bugged Felger and Maz at the Super Bowl. My friend Sebastian. He works for the Woody Show that's syndicated out of L.A. He was an intern for me, and he is in Mensa and like is a genius. So he would donate sperm, but like all the girls wanted his sperm because he was a genius and like he's blonde hair and blue eyes and stuff. They wanted like a white genius, and so he donated sperm like 200 times, like some ridiculous amount. And I called his mom on the air, and I'm like, your son could have 200 kids out there because he's donating his sperm. And she's like, no, he's not. And then Sebastian was like, yeah, Mom, I am.
Oh, boy.
And she's just like, no, he's not. And it was the strangest thing. She just was like, no. And I'm like, well, it's true. Like, I have documentation. Right. Like, it's in front of me. And she's like, no. And was none too pleased. I can't see why. I mean, doesn't everyone want to tell Atlanta that their kid's been yanking it at some office 200 times?
You were close there. There was a quick fork in the road. You chose wisely there.
Yeah.
That was nobody else could see that but me. But I was looking right at you.
I was going to go right
close.
I was going right to the result is what I was going to say, not the process.
To making a big mistake.
No, please.
Good for you.
I've been doing this since I was 22.
I know, but
I'm Opie.
There are moments.
All right, very good.
It's like you and Harry calling me on the air and saying, Harry's saying I'm going to Universal.
Nah, he could say way worse stuff than that. No, just kidding.
No.
All right.
No.
Frank Schwab is a writer extraordinaire who covers the NFL, and we love him, of course. And Dan Roach is here, and we'll talk to that man in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's Dan O'Brien for DraftKings. And if you're a college football fan, last week was just the appetizer. Now it is time to feast. College football is back, and don't miss any of the action. Jump in with DraftKings Sportsbook. A full slate of games actually coming up this week for week 1, including the big matchup in Atlanta between the preseason number 1 and number 16. This is going to be DraftKings' biggest college football season to date. Enjoy the ride now all the way through the expanded playoffs. If you're a newbie, all newbies getting into the college football spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Score big with DraftKings all college football season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code SportsHub. That's code SportsHub for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Hope is here. 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Massachusetts only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Hey, it's Window Nation's anniversary sale. Right now, buy 2 windows and get 2 free. Plus, pay nothing for 24 months and get an extra $250 credit. Hurry, the sale ends August 31st, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90-NATION or at windownation.com.
Morning people wake up for peace and quiet. McDonald's breakfast people, we wake up for the sweet rush of getting that warm, delicious breakfast right before it ends.
Get a head start on your morning with any size iced coffee in any flavor, like caramel, black, or classic, for just $1.29 during breakfast hours only. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Every summer, we make all kinds of decisions. This summer, you could decide to go out to the Savvy VW Summer Sales event and get a deal on a brand new 2024 Atlas. That would be a good decision. Or you could decide to not tie your swim shorts tight. That would be a bad decision.
Not every decision you make will be as good as running down to the Savvy VW Summer.
Sox seem all but out of the race for a playoff spot now after getting swept in a doubleheader by Toronto at Fenway yesterday and last night. Toronto took the afternoon game 4-1 in a completion of a contest that was suspended in late June. Catcher Danny Jansen in that game became the first player ever to play for both teams in a single game after being traded to the Sox before the deadline. Last night, the Sox lost 7-3. Alex Cora's team is now 5 games out of a playoff spot in the American League.
Most of them, they haven't been in this situation before, right? And, every pitch matters, every bat matters, we just got to make sure we slow it down. I don't know if it's pressure or just good pitching. We're We bet in this. We know that. And right now we're not going through a good stretch. We'll turn around.
George Springer homered in both games for the Blue Jays. Jaron Duran did the same thing for the Red Sox. However, they've lost 5 in a row in 11 out of 15. Cooper Criswell faces the Jays tonight. The Sox have also reportedly shut down top prospect Marcelo Mayer for the rest of the season. He's got a lumbar strain in his lower back. Big day for all NFL teams. They have to get down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Patriots got a jump on that. They waived 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts and defensive backs Mikey Victor and Azizi Hearn. Dallas has signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract. Tennessee has traded quarterback Malik Willis to Green Bay for a 7th-round pick. And yesterday was day 1 of the U.S. Open tennis tournament. American Coco Gauff and Novak Djokovic were among your winners. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Best Ford. Looking for great deals on new Fords? Go to the Best first. Best Ford in Nashua. Head to bestfordofnashua.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Boston, the greatest sports town in America.
We have a farm. I have about 200 pigs here.
We get to spill beers on each other without worrying about spilling beers on people.
Boston's home for sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ta-da!
We're back with Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. Danny Roach is in for Hardy today. This hour of our show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And you can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube and subscribe to keep up to date. And there's nothing better than being up to date with what's going on at 98.5 The Sports Hub. All right, we have the great Frank Schwab on. Hello, sir. How are you doing?
How you guys doing this morning?
We are doing fantastic, and we, have heard Gerard Mayo talking about how May has maybe outperformed Jacoby Brissett. And when you look around the league, how do you compare the Patriots rookie quarterback situation with the other rookies that were high picks this year?
I mean, the one big difference, obviously, and probably you guys have talked about it a million times, is the situation. Everybody else is kind of in a good situation, or at least reasonable. Obviously, everybody's talking about how Caleb has all the receivers to throw to, and Jaden Daniels has some talent around him, and even Bo Nix has, Sean Payton helping him out, and a couple guys there. Whereas the Patriots, just their environment is so bad around the quarterback that it just changes everything about this decision. That I'm a guy who, look, let them play. Let them play. They're going to learn. Yes, you're going to struggle a little bit, but you get better with that experience. With Drake May, I don't know if he should play. I guess at some point you have to. You can't. You're not going to go 3-14 with Jacoby Brissett and never see Drake May on the field. That's just unrealistic. It's not going to happen. But you do wonder, putting Drake May behind that offensive line, which we all know is not good, throwing to receivers who are young, it's going to take a while for guys like Polk and Douglas and all them to come along. Are you doing more harm than good by starting Drake May? We all know Drake May's better. We all know Drake May outplayed Brissett. I really laughed when Jared Mayo tried on Sunday night to do the whole, well, Drake May's our second best quarterback. Come on, Jared. Everybody knows. You don't have to do that. We know. But it's just a matter of whether the Patriots think he can survive, honestly, with this supporting cast around him.
How do you think Gerard Mayo has handled all of this in his rookie season as a head coach? Obviously, you know what we're used to. We're used to Bill Belichick saying absolutely nothing. Gerard Mayo is telling us everything.
Yeah, he really is. It's just so much different out there. I think he's done fine. I think that they pretty clearly went in with the game plan, right? Of Jacoby's going to start, Drake's going to wait. We're going to see, kind of see this through, see how long it goes. But part of that was based on Jacoby's been a reasonably good veteran stopgap type of quarterback through his career, and he just hasn't been in the preseason. It doesn't sound like it's been so bad during training camp, but you get into the games and, man, it just is the wheels have fallen off for Jacoby Brissett when you've seen him play. And I don't think that was part of the plan. And now all of a sudden you're stuck with this situation where, do you really play the quarterback who's obviously playing worse than the other guy? And the other guy's more talented, and the other guy's more exciting, and the other guy's who the fans want. And it's hard to pitch that to the locker room. It's hard to go into that locker room. Those guys know they know everything going on and say, hey, we're starting our second best quarterback to start the season. It's hard to do that. It's hard to get the guys on board with that. So I just think that Jeremiah, they had this plan and it didn't work out the plan, and now he's scrambling a little bit. I think for a rookie head coach, he's kind of handled this fine as well as he can, I guess. It's a tough situation because you can't just come out and say, look, our team stinks, we're not going to start the rookie quarterback. You can't say that either. So I think it's a little bit of an awkward situation for him, but I think he's handled it fine. And I think for a guy in that kind of spotlight dealing with his unusual situation, he's done as well as he can with it.
So, but in the first game specifically at Cincinnati, with Brissett's experience with Van Pelton, his experience in that division, do you think that Drake May, I know they're not going to win the game, right? But just if you were doing it by logic, what quarterback, in your opinion, in that specific game gives them a better chance to win?
Oh, I think May gives him a better chance to win.
Really?
I do. I just think he's better. I just think he's better. He's going to make plays that Jacoby just can't make. And you're going to need somebody with that offensive infrastructure around the quarterback. You're going to need somebody to kind of make plays out of nothing. And Jacoby's not that guy. Like, look, the last time we really saw Jacoby Brissett play was with that Browns team 2 years ago. And he was good. He played well, but he had a good team around him. We saw that again last year with Joe Flacco. I don't think Joe Flacco all of a sudden reinvented himself. I just think the Browns are pretty good around a quarterback position. But if you're asking a guy, hey, we're sticking you with a bottom five offense around you, go make it happen. Jacoby's not that dude. And I think Drake, look, you're going to live with mistakes. You're going to have mistakes. That's just part of the deal with him, especially early on as a rookie. But he's also going to make a few plays a game where Jacoby just can't make those type of plays. So I do think if you're just saying, hey, we want to win this game week one, that's our only goal, that's the only thing we're thinking about, I think Drake May would be the choice in my mind. Again, just based on he can make the plays that Jacoby can't, but there's a lot more that goes into that this decision than just what you're trying to do, even the first few weeks of the season as far as wins and losses.
How much has C.J. Stroud screwed everything up for a lot of teams when it comes to patience?
I know, it's crazy. Like it's almost like the way Tom Brady screwed things up for 40-year-old quarterbacks, where you realize this isn't normal. Like dudes aren't throwing for 4,500 yards at 44 years old like Brady did. The same thing with Stroud, where if Caleb Williams comes out and has a rookie season where he throws, 25 touchdowns and 18 interceptions and 3,700 yards, that's really not that bad. But everybody's gonna say, well, look what C.J. Stroud did. C.J. Stroud was the best rookie quarterback I've ever seen. And yes, I've seen many of them. I remember Marino, and I'm old enough to remember that. I remember RG3 and all the guys you can name. Stroud was the best one. So the bar has been set so high where even a Drake May, let's say Drake May starts week one. I don't think that's going to happen. But he starts week one. He goes along. He makes plays, throws for like 20 touchdowns or whatever, does reasonably well. I think it's going to seem disappointing just because C.J. Stroud now has set the bar unrealistically high for every rookie quarterback. And these rookie quarterbacks are good. I mean, they all look good in the preseason, even McCarthy, who's going to miss the year. But yes, you're right. I 100% agree that Stroud is kind of, for a while here, everybody's going to be, well, if he comes in and has a C.J. Stroud type of season, whoever can turn it around and make the playoffs when he was a comet. That's not going to happen very often.
And also, they had more of a foundation. I mean, I got to think that if you don't think the Patriots are the worst team, the second worst team in the NFL, do you think, just yes or no, do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think they're. I think they're. Let me put it this way: I think they're going to have the worst record in the NFL. If you look at their schedule,
you got to pound that 4.5 under.
Especially the first 6 or 7 games. That's where they.
It's unbelievable. Like I did like a week ago. I did this where I was just like, because I was trying to figure out like, well, is there a soft spot in the schedule where it makes sense to put a Drake May in the schedule? And I'm starting to go through the games and saying, I'm trying to pick a win for the Patriots. I can't find one. And I know they're not going 1-17 because that just doesn't happen in the NFL. But you start to look at which game would I pick the Patriots to win? And there's not many yeses. There's not many check marks on that list. I'll tell you that.
No, they play the Arizona and Indianapolis back to back towards the end of the season.
That's a possibility. Maybe they pick up Jacksonville out in London or something.
But Frank, you mentioned that you've been covering the NFL for a long time. You do it from a national perspective. And you talk about the Texans. How many draft cycles? Like if you hit, like say May hits, Polk hits, They get a couple hits from this draft, and then they get a few in the next draft. In your experience with the NFL, what's the turnaround time for a total rebuild?
And I think realistically, we're talking about, and not to bring up a name you guys are going to grimace at, but if you hit it on an Aaron Judge type of home run spree in the draft, it could be 2 years, I think. I really do. That it's not that long in the NFL. And you got to hit key spots. You got to hit your number one receiver, and obviously quarterback. You talked about the Texans and them being set up so well. They really weren't. Like, we've kind of revised history with that. I remember writing about the Texans last summer when I did my preview series, and they were considered the most dysfunctional team in the NFL. Like, it was just, we've just have kind of erased that from our memory of how bad they were.
Yeah. I agree, but I'm not diminishing what C.J. Stroud accomplished, but like, say you put C.J. Stroud, this is interesting. Say you put C.J. Stroud on this Patriots team.
Or the Panthers last year.
The Panthers last year. I mean, did Houston have superior talent to the Panthers last year in the Okay. So there
you look at they did have guys like Nico Collins, but Stroud kind of brought that out of him. And we forget that the Texans had the most injured offensive line in the NFL last year. I think I saw a stat where they did not play their 5 preferred starters in one game all season last year. It was crazy, the amount of offensive line injuries. But they hit massively in that draft, obviously. Will Anderson, Tank Dell, and guys like that. So I think it's 2. I think it's 2 draft cycles where, again, if you are just blazing hot and you hit and look, Jalen Polk becomes a number 1. I really like Jalen Polk, and even Javon Baker becomes a good number 2. And then next year, look, the defensive infrastructure is not bad. Like, it really isn't. I mean, that's a competitive defense. So you hit offensive line really hard in next year's draft, and you make some good signings. I think in 2 years you could turn things around, unless you're just. Maybe it's 3 for the Patriots, because this roster, look, we all know this roster is really talent deficient, but 2 to 3 years, let's say 2 to 3, 2 if you're just on fire, 3 in a reasonable, like, we've hit on a lot of draft picks and we're good in 3 years type of deal.
We know the Patriots are going to finish last in the AFC East, but I'm wondering from a national perspective, because Fred is a Jets fan and obviously we see the other 2 teams all the time. How do you think the rest of the division shapes up? Are the Jets good enough to finish first this year?
I do. Look, the Jets are just, they remind me 2 years ago. Look, I'll pat myself on the back. I was very, very high in the Eagles 2 years ago when nobody, I don't want to say nobody else was, but they weren't chic yet, right? And I had the exact same reaction. I just remember looking at the 2022 Eagles depth chart and the 2024 Jets depth chart at some point and really studying it and being like, this team is loaded. This team is absolutely unbelievably good. They just have one variable, and it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, if Aaron Rodgers, and look, the 4-time MVP, he ain't going to work here anymore, right? Again, the Tom Brady thing. Like, we can't expect Aaron Rodgers to just show up and play at a top 5 level. He's 40 years old, turning out 41 in December. He's not going to be an MVP level guy again. But if he's the 10th best quarterback in the NFL, and I don't think that's unrealistic, then the Jets might go to the moon. I mean, they're good at every single way around the quarterback. They're the Jets. They usually screw it up. Something's going to happen. I get it. But this Jets team has the ability to win a Super Bowl. They really do. And that's with Aaron Rodgers just being the 10th, 12th best quarterback back in the NFL. And I think that's realistic. But this Jets team their roster is just, from top to bottom, it is really, really impressive.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I know, right? You can't buy into the Jets. I totally get it.
I hate when people are like, but they'll Jets it up. Like, all right, like, relax. Like, the Lions were in the NFC Championship game last year,
and then they Lions did up. So yeah.
Well, no, but they were in the NFC Championship game, I grew up there, so believe me, that was the second playoff win in my lifetime they had last year. I went, but I will tell you this is that if the Jets are in the Super Bowl, it will be like a alternate universe. It will feel like peyote is in the situation. Like, it would be very strange.
A Jets-Lions Super Bowl is not out of the question. Get ready for the apocalypse.
What would you do
Get
then?
Some canned goods, like I think it would just be the end of days if the Jets and Lions will somehow make a Super Bowl. But totally unattainable. The Lions are my Super Bowl pick, as crazy as that sounds coming out of my mouth, and the Jets are as good as anybody in the AFC on paper.
You know what's funny is that I would tell you right now that I would root for the Lions because the city deserves it with the way they've supported that garbage team for so long. But I know from experience that emotionally I would be unable to do so. There's the uniform. Immediately I would start, because I've tried to not be a Jets fan for many, many years. But again, even when they won the game, Frank Gore scored the touchdown to win the 16th game of the season, which got them out of the first pick of the draft where they would have gotten Trevor Lawrence. Oh. I found myself celebrating the touchdown like an idiot because in a meaningless game, but because it's something hardwired in you that's unfortunate. All right, Frank. Frank Schwab, good. You were great. NFL writer for Yahoo Sports. We appreciate everything. Everyone read Frank, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, for sure, guys. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, there you go.
All right, Fred, should the Jets or Lions make it to the Super Bowl? And I understand the Super Bowl is going to be West for a while, but this coming year, I think it's in New Orleans. So would you...
It wouldn't matter where it is, but go ahead.
I'm just saying, would you like to take the show to New Orleans should either of those teams make the Super Bowl? Because we haven't gone the last couple of years. And to be honest, we didn't need to go.
Yeah.
But this would be an opportunity for you to kind of soak in an atmosphere where one of your teams is there.
I don't know if it would be necessary. Certainly, like personally, like I wouldn't care about being there for the week leading up. But I can tell you what the plan would be because I've discussed this with Milo. The plan is such: if the Lions have a home NFC Championship game, we will attend that.
Awesome.
If I'm more interested in the NFC Championship game. However, for some reason, if the Jets made, and I would not go to a Lions Super Bowl, I'm not spending the money. It's ridiculous, and I don't even think it would be that fun.
Okay, say the Jets make the Super Bowl.
But if the Jets make the Super Bowl, I will not attend the AFC Championship game, but I will attend the Super Bowl.
So
I will go.
So we would go, all of us, as a show.
I mean, it's not that one. It doesn't, connect to the other. But but I would go. I would take him to the Super Bowl. If I didn't have a son that was into football, maybe I wouldn't. But I would.
But he's right. If you're going to give odds on all the possible matchups in the Super Bowl, the Jets and Lions are up there.
Yeah, and that would just, even though I love Detroit and the city, and I'm a Jet fan, that might be the annoying meter on what people are saying around that just the obvious take on that might be such that I don't even wish that to happen.
Who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year? If I said right now, as
Lions.
we sit here. Do you?
I think the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl.
Well,
interesting. Look, it's boring, but Kansas City is the favorite until Mahomes stops playing.
Kansas City, and his receiver core is way better than it was last year, but
I'm never betting against that guy.
No, I wouldn't either. But I think that the Lions are the best team in the NFC, and I think that they'll, unless Philadelphia does something. It's interesting.
I'm going to say that's what my pick would be.
It's Philadelphia or the Lions, I think, are the two teams. The two best teams in football, I believe. But Philadelphia's got that coach, Danny, and I'm not positive about him. They're already having problems, him and Jalen Hurts. Apparently there has to be a go-between the coach and the quarterback. So maybe I am confident about this Lions situation. They're better than the 49ers, I do believe, and as evidenced last year until the second half. All right, we'll be back with our famous email segment in just a moment.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and you can reach John Wallach at JON at 985thesportshub.com. You can reach me at Toucher at 985thesportshub.com. You can follow the show at Toucher and Hardy on Twitter and Instagram, and you can follow me at Fred Toucher on Instagram. And Dan, they have, if you have a blue check mark on Instagram, which is very difficult to get, I got it. You know how I did it?
You sent them a check.
No, I didn't pay them. I'm not doing that. I was on an airplane. My son said you can get verified, and the way that I told them to verify me is I sent him an article from the Globe about me going to rehab. Oh. So look,
really,
everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, look at me.
Worked out well.
Yeah, when I F up, it's in the paper, and they went, that's for you, and then so
check.
You can check the analytics, and since I've been saying my Instagram account, like 3 more people a day are following me than unfollowing me. So in the scheme of things, I'm gaining
30 years. Imagine.
I mean, I'll be able to get like Nick $100 off at the putt check, and all I have to do is compromise all the station accounts. That's all. All right. So here we go. A question for Rochi. All right. This is from our friend Joe. Good morning, Freddie and the boys. Always nice to hear Rochi. Hey, Rochi.
Hey.
The Red Sox are now only about 2 or 3 games away from last place. It's quite possible they finish last again. And this year, that will be 4 in 5 years. Will there be increased pressure to spend big in the offseason, or will they do the same thing again and risk another loss next year? Is anyone listening over there?
I think that they will. They have to invest, right? I mean, I know we said that every year, especially after last year, but I think they know where they're on a path to, and I think they need to invest in pitching, right? It's clear. It's pretty clear. And we talked about this earlier. Marcelo Meyer's on the shelf again for this season. How tempting will it be for, Craig Breslow and company to give up prospects to go get some pitching, whether through trade, so I think through trade and then through hopefully free agency, they can boost their pitching staff. And they need to find some young pitching. They need to get some young starters that are out there to help this team in the franchise, because the base of their young players positionally is good. It's solid. So I think that they definitely will. They have to.
Okay.
Been too dormant on these last off seasons.
Why do you think, and this is maybe it's just a boring question, but do you think in seriousness, Henry is still interested in the team? The Fenway Sports Group is still very interested in the team? That the notion that they've moved on to other things, do you think that's a true thing?
I think it's a naturally true thing, yes. There's no question in my mind. I mean, it shows. It's just their broader base of all these different things that they're into now is just, kind of, I still think that they love the Red Sox and want to do everything they can, but I just think that it's not as what's the word I'm looking for? It's not as
top of mind.
Yeah, it's not as like, wow, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Novel,
like it used to be. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like a broad you're really sticking it to all the time.
No, Fred. I just think it's a baseball team that they used to love, and everything
Dan,
was eat, drink, sleep about. I think it's now.
Before you met your wife, it was like you were a notorious swordsman, and it would be like, honey, I've already betted you. This conquest has been won. That's what you're saying.
Syracuse, for example.
When you were at Syracuse. I mean, how many procedures?
You can't even say it.
I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, like, you had to shell out some cash to some.
You got another email?
Well, no, I have a follow-up question. No.
I have a good joke, but I'm not going to tell it.
Well, we have a lot to discuss tomorrow.
Okay. I'm censoring myself.
I'm looking forward to it.
It's too controversial a subject.
Hey, John.
It's not even. It wouldn't offend you. It's just. I want you to know it was nothing mean. Go ahead.
This email is from Lucas. Hey, John, big fan. I notice you have phlegm problems 2 to 3 times a week.
I have not noticed that. That's interesting. I have not. Seriously.
Check to see whatever you are drinking or eating has high fructose corn syrup, because I had the same problem. And my answer to that would be my allergies are effing killing me this time of year. That's probably, I clear my throat at times, but I haven't noticed I've been completely struggling.
I have.
Oh, now you're in his head. Now it's the Mackie Sasser situation.
Oh,
now he's going to start clearing it all the time.
That's why I threw it out there to John.
Boy, all right.
He's going to need some trip to the DR.
That's a problem. This is from Adam. Fred, you'll enjoy this. Can someone tell Fred not all cars have spare tires? For instance, many hybrids don't have them because there's no trunk or undercarriage space.
Then what do you do? Why don't they have a spare tire?
I don't know. I didn't know that
I didn't know that,
cars
Fred.
didn't have spare tires.
I don't understand what this Tesla situation is. You've seen the Tesla like super truck, right?
Yes.
Like, okay.
That boxy thing that looks like it's made out of Legos.
There is a theory out there about that truck. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can Google it. It's this Tesla truck, and it looks like a transformer thing. Like it doesn't look.
Oh my gosh, have you seen it on the roads?
Yes,
yes,
and it doesn't. It doesn't
weird looking.
Weird.
Yeah, it doesn't like look cool. Like you know how there's ostentatious cars that look cool, like
Yes.
Lamborghinis and stuff. Like even though they're kind of douchey, like you see them and you're like, well, that's like a beautiful piece of machinery, right? These things are just dumb, and I swear to God, I don't even think this is a joke. I actually think it might be true. The theory that Elon Musk has so much money that they wanted to do a social experiment where they made the ugliest thing they could and just went, hey, it's expensive, and just to see
how
if
many
people would
people buy
it. And I don't discount that because I don't think it's like super fast, and it looks like really dumb. And my kids were like, well, it's supposed to be really safe. Well, cars. I mean, what do you like?
Safe for what?
Every car's like got all the crap in it now. Like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Like, it can't stop you from jarring around if you're going 100 and hit a wall. Like, you're still
Right.
screwed.
Or if you roll over. or
Yeah,
anything
like you could
that.
be in I mean, you're still gonna. I mean, guys in NASCARs die and they got helmets and they're strapped in like you wouldn't believe. God,
The guy who sent the original, he's listing, so he wanted to make sure that we understood the reason hybrids don't have spares is because the battery component is in the trunk and under area, so a true spare won't fit.
well, that's a dangerous situation. If you don't know why we're discussing this, my son is, he's 16. He's starting to get to where he could drive. He's easing into it, but he's asking a lot of questions, which is good. And he said to me, he asked about spare tires, and I said, he goes, do other cars that don't have the spare tire on the back, like the Bronco, do they have spare tires? And I said, yeah, they do. And he goes, how do you get it on? And I'm like, you need a jack. It's a pain in the ass. And then he goes, the cars without tires come with jacks.
Right.
And then I looked at him, and I wanted him to do the
Hello.
like, yeah,
7-second delay.
All these cars without tires that are rolling around. On that subject, Justin says, reminds me of the thing. I think you should leave motorcycle skate. Motorcycle with no motor, okay. That was when he looks at a bicycle. Did you get mail?
How did you get mail at this radio station?
That's some weird, like, independent book.
Should I open it or not?
I know what it is. It's the same thing that's in there. Yeah, read mail during the mail segment is what Dan says.
Sure.
So, Fred, just real quick, just reading something. Consumer Report says about 40% of new vehicles do not have a spare tire in them. Due to, for the size, they don't want to put them in there. They say they come with a compressor and some sort of inflatable.
That's what that guy was saying. All right, so there
or
is
some of the luxury ones that that have the run flat tires.
Yeah, but that Jaguar was supposed to have, like, it had super expensive wheels, and those things were blowing up on a consistent basis. But then again, we were in hell.
I was just going to say we were living next
Somebody
to
was
a
shooting
dump.
at you, yeah.
I wasn't afraid ever. I was there was crap on the ground in Dorchester. Adam says, hi. Can you ask Dan what size collar he wears during these walks, your walking club? I don't understand that.
Meaning I'm a dog.
Oh, thank you. You
That's
cleared
what I
that
think
up.
anyway, right?
Is it bedazzled with Disney jewels? Is that something your wife allows? Dan is one of these everyone loves Raymond people that says if my wife allows me.
He wears a tracksuit, goes out, starts walking.
Do you always wear walking shoes? Do you have a pair of walking shoes?
I do.
Did you Google best walking shoes?
I did.
You got
So
the
did
Robert
I.
Kraft Air Force Ones or whatever?
What make are they? What make are they? Come on. I know
why can't I think of it?
Because I can't either.
Oh, Hoka's.
I got-
AT Challenger or something like that?
Yeah. When I got my dog, baby, I Googled best walking shoes.
Atta boy.
And I ended up with those same ones. They're ugly. They're the ugliest
good in the
shoe.
winter, though.
Oh yeah, but if you do anything
Check it through
but
that cemetery, Freddie.
when you're not walking with them, they do not lead to. They do not.
No.
They dry these women up like you wouldn't believe. They do not look like cool shoes.
I don't wear them.
Yeah, like it's so
I mean,
funny.
what else but walking?
How dumb is that too? Like, what are the best walking shoes?
Exactly.
Oh no, these ones are just your feet will break.
Right.
Like if you wear these shoes are not me. That's almost as dumb as what my son asked me. But we did it. You thought I was going to make fun of you, but I did the same effing thing. Laid out $120 for a pair of walking shoes. Because, I'm walking the dog a lot now, so I need walking shoes. Because my hundreds of pairs of sneakers were not sufficient enough. All right. Dan, you're going to open that, and that's just a dumb book.
I have one thing. I'm not sure why this was sent to us. Maybe you can help me out. Bob just tweeted me and said, but what about the Patriots having a top 5 young core? Is that something we did on the show that I'm not familiar with? I don't know what that means.
No, they don't have a young core. This is going to take a couple years, is what we've discussed.
Okay.
Maybe that's an inside joke about something else.
I don't know. By the way, Jeremy Fowler just put out the Kendrick Bourne starting the season on the PUP.
Wait,
so
who?
He
what?
won't be eligible for the first 4 games.
What did you just say?
Jeremy Fowler of ESPN said that Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver, will start on the PUP.
Not a shock.
Not a shock.
How are they going to beat Cincinnati then?
With Brissett in the running game.
Yeah. You got to
Stevenson's
slow
gonna
the
run
game
for
down. You got to
125.
keep the ball out of Burrow's hands.
There you go.
That's what you got to do. You got to slow it down.
I'm actually looking forward to the season.
I'm very much looking forward to the football season.
Watch them develop and everything else. Yes, just the football season in general, Fred. I watched the Florida State-Georgia Tech game the other day. That was fun. And now I'm looking forward to this weekend's good for college football. Boston College opens up on the road at Florida State with Bill O'Brien on Monday. And then, bam, we're into the NFL season. It's awesome.
I miss the Sunday. I like having something to do on a Sunday. That's why when they F around with Thursday night and Monday night, Monday night's been around my whole life.
The more 1 o'clock Sunday games, the better.
Yes, I like the event of Sunday. Sunday's something you can always get guys to do something. It's difficult, and myself included, it's very difficult during the week to get guys to do something, myself included. But Sundays, I'm available. Even when I have my kids, because of this job, I can use that as an excuse and not be called an absentee father. So I can meet guys at a place to watch the game.
You can do that.
That is
I don't like to do that.
And there will be guys that do it. Well, I also have the
like
Sunday
the red
ticket.
zone. But I like to be by myself watching it.
I can't watch the red zone. There's no context.
It's just fun.
I'm stealing Bill Simmons' thing, but it's like a porn where I don't know how they met. If it's just the ending if it's just the ending of the act, it's of no use to me. I need to see a little bit of setup, at least how they started hooking up. I mean, it's just like a
watch the pregame show.
The pregame show is just ringing the doorbell.
Yeah,
Dan, we need to know who made the pizza.
That's right.
Before it gets in the car, before it gets delivered.
I don't like those ironically funny pornos like Big Sausage Pizza. Right? Are you on the same page as me, Dan?
You can watch our pregame show 11:30 on Sunday.
Like at least pretend that you're enjoying the sex. Big Sausage Pizza is just a big joke. The thing is, Dan, that the guy delivers the pizza because it's a play on the old delivery boy porn theme. But when the woman, and they're all in on it, which I don't like. And then when the woman opens up the box, wouldn't you know, there's a hole in the box, and a man's aroused in the box, and then they have sex from there. But it's too goofy.
A lot of themes too. Like, well, what's the
Oh,
one
you
when the
think?
guy throws the woman overboard after they're done?
Well, Captain Stab, it's
That's
awful.
what it is. Yeah,
That's awful.
He's awful.
He's awful.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Like, if a girl has sex with you, why would you be mean to her? She just let you have sex with her.
And the fake casting couch guy. Terrible guy.
I don't like that either.
Terrible.
I don't like them to admit it's porn, basically. Like, I like the suspension of disbelief. Mm-hmm. I don't like when they lean into it. I don't like when they interview the girl beforehand, like the real girl.
Can you talk to David Wade about this later?
Sure.
Okay.
Does David Wade watch a lot of pornography?
All the time. In his office. The door closed.
Way to go, Rochi. Right to break.
That's all I wanted. Thank you, Dad.
There was a time.
You guys cracked me.
There was a time that Crash. Here's how different things were. There was a time that when I was at 99X, Crash had his own office. Which is different. He was the traffic guy.
Office?
And he had an office.
Oh my God.
And he got all excited because the internet, he wasn't that experienced with the internet. Say this 2001. and he runs in and he says to a bunch of the female interns, "Oh my God, I just saw the funniest porn. It's like a fairy tale porn. You got to come see this." And the girls ran into his office and they watched porn together. They would execute you now if you did that.
Not only would you get fired from this job, no one would ever hire you.
They would they'd kill you. They would literally kill you. They'd castrate you and then kill you.
God.
I'm not saying it was better days than I'm just saying it was very different. All right. We will be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Big problems for the Red Sox. They lost 2 more games at Fenway yesterday and last night. Game 1, 4-1 to Toronto, and then Game 2, the Blue Jays won 7-3. Jarren Duran, a homer in each game for the Sox in both losses. However, they're 5 games out of a playoff spot. They'll play Toronto again tonight. Top Sox minor leaguer Marcelo Meyer is reportedly done for the season thanks to a lumbar strain in his lower back. Meyer was promoted to AAA Worcester earlier this month. All NFL teams have to be down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Patriots waived 14 players yesterday, including defensive lineman Sam Roberts. As you heard earlier, ESPN is reporting Kendrick Bourne will start the season on the PUP list. Dallas signed wideout CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract yesterday with $100 million guaranteed. They will also reportedly work out free agent running back Dalvin Cook today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 10 o'clock.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
you stack monster. Hey!
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right. The Stack, it's brought to you by Best Ford in Nashua. If you're looking for great deals on new Fords, go to the Best First. That's Best Ford in Nashua. Head to thebestford.com. And our show, of course, is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Bill Belichick. Pat McAfee knows where the bread is buttered. Pat McAfee was this YouTube sensation. And even this show, we would play his interviews with Aaron Rodgers. And he would stack this up into, he would get like a 10, 20 million views on these. But it was because he had Aaron Rodgers on. He was paying $1 million a year to. And then the companies, I finally heard a guy in media say this, and I've been saying it for years. Like, whenever something new comes out, people don't understand it, and they want to get in right away. So, like, they didn't think Pat McAfee is getting all these views because he is the most controversial figure in sports. At the time that he was, like, screwing around with the Packers, he was saying all the conspiracy stuff, talking like he was an expert. I mean, no one went, wow, Pat McAfee's great. Pat McAfee just sat there and let his friend talk for an hour, which is wise. But, you know, my dog could do that, literally, sit on a Zoom and just let Aaron Rodgers talk at him.
Like A.J. Hawk on that show.
A.J. Hawk, who I saw smile.
Yeah, sure.
When they were in Dublin and Pat McAfee was wearing a Scully cap.
The longest A.J. Hawk has spoken at one time. 5 seconds?
We played it 2 weeks ago. It was like 22 seconds.
22 seconds. Okay.
Oh, did you see I only see this. It only exists on the internet. But did you see when McAfee's mic went down? A listener said this to me. So McAfee, it's not good for the air, but McAfee's mic goes down. Like, you can't hear him. It's like dead silence. And the other guys on the show are telling him, like, kind of what to do. And A.J. Hawk does not move, talk, or change his facial expression. As the co-host, the host mic went down, and A.J. Hawk doesn't go, okay, the host mic's down. Maybe I should even awkwardly try to talk. A.J. Hawk just sat there with the same stupid stone face on him. He might be the funniest guy in the history of the world. Who would know? But so they have Belichick on it. And you say, oh, Fred, you're jealous of McAfee. I'm very jealous of the amount of money he's making in proportion to his lack of talent. And ESPN's getting everything it deserves because he's not good and people don't like him. All right, but this is Belichick talking about this great Commonwealth.
What's that millionaire's tax about, Coach?
Yeah, what's that all about?
That's strictly New England or what?
Yeah, it's Massachusetts. Yeah.
All right. I know it's not me, but stop it. You laughed out loud at Massachusetts. That's that funny to you, you phony. That's that funny to you? Massachusetts? Remind me to revive my stand-up career if this is what's passing as comedy now.
Massachusetts, the ones a state called Massachusetts.
This is Lou Reed.
Now we call it Massachusetts. Bum, 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 bum. They got.
That's a Lou Reed cover. All right, continue. I'm sorry. You can if it starts again, it starts again.
What's that millionaire's tax about, Coach?
Yeah, what's that all about?
That's strictly New England or what?
Yeah, it's Massachusetts. Yeah. They take more from you. So virtually every player, even the practice squad, well, not, but even the minimum players are pretty close to $1 million. And so once you hit that $1 million threshold, then you pay more state tax in Massachusetts. So, yeah, just another thing you got to contend with in negotiations up there. It's not like Tennessee or, Florida or Nevada or some of these teams that have no state income tax. So you get hit pretty hard on that. With the agents, they'll come and sledgehammer you down about, how much extra tax they're paying.
So there's rare insight. Bill Belichick. Were you aware there's no state tax in some states?
Yes, I've heard that.
Financial planner Belichick. One thing that was funny, though, is that I listen to Joe Murray almost every night, and Joe was talking about that, and he's like, I got news for you. Like, anyone who makes $1 million they don't know their bills. They have their own accountant. And to that I would say, huh?
Maybe 20 years ago.
Yeah, like what? No. Like, I don't think that's true. Like, if you're a billionaire, I would imagine there's someone, but you don't think a millionaire pays his own bills?
You have to.
Pretty much.
And then I felt sorry for Joe. Because I was like, Joe, your idea of this, extraordinary lifestyle afforded to people like that. But anyway, Bill Belichick is breaking that down. All right. Well, thank you, everyone.
So you're off to Tennessee for the rest of the week.
I am off to my parents' house the first time, I believe, ever, except for when my dad had a quadruple bypass, but we had something to do then, sit in the hospital. This is the first time I've been to my parents' house alone without my children. My children are going on vacation, thankfully, with their mother, and that's a good thing. I truly believe that. I mean that. But I didn't want to sit home alone over the holiday weekend, so I said I'll go to my parents' house, and this should be interesting.
You're bringing the golf clubs.
I am going to bring my golf clubs. Okay. I will play golf at some point.
Well, you just said your dad.
No, my dad.
play.
I don't think my dad can play, but my dad would ride in the cart. It's something to do.
Yeah.
He's not, in bed. He can get around, but it is a thing. So I will be doing that. So if you want to be jealous of someone's highfalutin lifestyle, I'll be in East Tennessee alone, swimming in young women. I mean, they're all over the place.
What is the average age of people who live around that lake?
On the lake?
Yes.
I'd say 60.
Okay.
60.
Is it an older community or is it just a regular lake place?
Okay, so it's the community they're in is not a senior community, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just a place. It was marketed to retirees as a place to go when you retire.
Sure.
But
it's not a home.
But no. It's 5,000 homes. It's like a real city and everything. There's people that don't live in the community, in the community. But to Mike's, it's all old people. But they opened up the golf course now, so there's people way younger than me playing there. B Real says AJ Hawk could not move at that moment when the mics went down because there were tourists visiting him on Easter Island. And that is exactly what he looks like.
Sure.
All right, everyone, enjoy your long weekends, and you could be having a better time than me. Just know that. Bye.
Fred, goodbye. Goodbye.